All right. Stream's getting fired up. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another night of world news coverage with emphasis on the war in Ukraine. I'm your host, Andy Mercado, independent journalist, U.S. Army veteran, and again, it is night 69 going into day 70 for the war in Ukraine. There have been more missile strikes in the western city of Lviv, so we'll be going into that. There was a missile strike in even a further western city in Ukraine called Transcarpathia, which we'll be talking about. There's been increased missile strikes in the city of Odessa. Those are starting to repeat some. There was 152 civilians were able to evacuate from the city of Mariupol, and we'll be watching a documentary tonight on the city of Mariupol and the situation that has unfolded there. We'll be going through that and watching the entire documentary. It's about an hour and 20 minutes long. So we're going to be dialed into that as soon as we go through the breaking news. We're going to be watching that. The fighting in the east continues as Russia is seeking to gain new territory in the Donbas. And there was another missile strike in Lviv. So we'll be going, in Kyiv. So we'll be going over all that and much more. Also, the response from Chief Justice John Roberts in terms of the leak from the Supreme Court document that had been released from the news. There was protests around the country today within the United States. I attended one. That's why I'm a little late tonight. I do apologize, but we'll be covering that and I'll be showing you guys what happened today. All that and much more, guys. Hang tight. We'll be back after this short intro. All right, everybody, again, welcome back. Day 69 of covering the war in Ukraine, and I'm your host of the coverage, Andrew Mercado of Mercado Media, independent journalism, independent media. Thank you guys again for choosing independent media as your source for everything happening in the world. We're gonna It's a lot going on daily basis, just a lot happening here in the world. So if you guys want to follow along, this is written in the description of our video here on YouTube, and it's written in every single description. Lawmakers have banned pro-Russian parties. According to the bill, parties that support or whitewash Russia's war against Ukraine and deny the fact that Moscow occupies Ukrainian territories, including Crimea and eastern Donbas, are to be banned. Kyiv Oblast authorities to build housing for those affected by the war. According to the Kyiv Regional Administration, residents of Irpin and Borodyanka who lost their housing due to Russia's war will receive permanent accommodation. Welcome everybody, and again, comment where you're tuned in from. Where are you guys watching from? At least 9 people killed by Russian attack in Donetsk Oblast. Donetsk Oblast Governor Pavlo Kyrylenko said that Russia has bombed Avdiivka on May 3rd, killing at least 3 people and injuring 2 others. Russian shelling kills at least 10 civilians, injures 15 in Avdiivka. The shelling killed workers waiting for the bus near Avdiivka coke and chemical plant, according to Pavlo Kyrylenko, the governor of the Donetsk Oblast. The number of casualties is likely to increase. 156 civilians evacuated from Azovstal arrived in Zaporizhia. Nearly 1,000 people remain trapped at the besieged facility while Russian troops are trying to break into the plant after an intense night of shelling that killed 2 women. The mayor of Lviv, Andriy Sadovyi, is reporting that Russian cruise missiles have struck at least 2 electrical stations in the city this morning. The strikes are being stated to have knocked out power to a large portion of the city. 2 electrical substations damaged by missile attack in Lviv, according to Mayor Andriy Sadovyi. Ukrainian Railways company said that the trains heading to Lviv are being delayed because Russians targeted the substations that are part of the railway infrastructure. Explosions, power outages, and reports in Lviv, Explosions and power outages are being reported in Lviv. There are power outages in an unspecified part of Lviv, according to Mayor Andriy Sadovyi. The western city has reportedly been hit by at least 1 missile, and we have plenty of video to watch of the cruise missiles that are flying through the air, and just I couldn't even imagine. Ukrainian troops repelled 12 Russian attacks in Donbas on May 3rd. Ukraine's Joint Forces operation reported that Russian losses in the fighting in Donbas include 6 tanks, vehicles, and 9 cars. And let me pull up the last piece of news that I forgot to had put in the YouTube description. On Tuesday, Chief Justice John Roberts, and this is news within the United States now. This is at the bottom of the description. I'll add this. On Tuesday, Chief Justice John Roberts confirmed the authenticity of a leaked draft document written by Justice Samuel Alito suggesting that the U.S. Supreme Court will vote to overturn Roe v. Wade, the landmark case that made abortion legal nationwide. Roberts added that, while it is legitimate, it is not yet a final decision and directed the marshal of the court to launch an investigation into the leak. Politico was the first to report the leaked document on Monday, which is dated February 10th. And here is the official response from the Supreme Court and John Roberts. I'm going to pull this up. You guys can read it on the screen here. Yesterday, a news organization published a copy of a draft opinion in a pending case. Justices circulate draft opinions internally as a routine and essential part of the court's confidential and deliberative work. Although the document described in yesterday's reports is authentic, it does not represent a decision by the court or the final position of any member on the issues in the case. Chief Justice John G. Roberts Jr. provided the following statement. To the extent this betrayal of confidences of the court was intended to undermine the integrity of our operations, it will not succeed. The work of the court will not be affected in any way. We at the court are blessed to have a workforce, permanent employees and law clerks alike, intensely loyal to the institution and dedicated to the rule of law. Court employees have an exemplary and important tradition of respecting the confidentiality of the judicial process and upholding the trust of the court. This was a singular and egregious breach of that trust, and it is an affront to the court and the community of public servants who work here. I have directed the marshal of the court to launch an investigation into the source of the leak. So it was a legitimate draft opinion. They recognized it to be legitimate, and they're launching an investigation into how it was leaked. All right, so that is the Supreme Court situation update. This is the latest from the Supreme Court. We'll have more to go through tomorrow, I'm sure. There's another protest. So just real quick while we're on the subject, you guys. And if you guys want to tune in live, make sure you follow on Facebook, and I'll be touching on it on our YouTube streams the best I can, like I am now. But I was out there today. I posted on my personal. Here I was out there. An example of what it looked like. Let me close this. In Minneapolis, there's protests all around the country. All right, and then here's another clip from the day. Protests continue this afternoon in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the wake of last night's publishing of the leaked draft SCOTUS majority opinion indicating an overturning of Roe versus Wade.
Memorial, which was built just a few years before. And what that
Hundreds gathered in Minneapolis.
Is that we are here to fight for religious freedom. That we need to be open to the fact that we all come to this issue and all our issues with an open mind and an open heart and access to safe health care for every single American. So let's be clear.
So that took place in Minneapolis, and again, I'll be out there again live tomorrow covering further. All right, and we'll talk about it and have discussions on that and break that down a little further. All right, let's hop back into Ukraine. Just wanted to let you guys know that's where I was and why I'm late to tonight. There was covering the happenings around the Supreme Court, and I'll be getting out to more protests. So you guys can tune into those streams on Facebook if you're interested. But again, I'll be touching on them on YouTube at nighttime. All right, so let's start here. And going around the country of Ukraine. Let's start in Lviv, or excuse me. Yes, let's start in Lviv. Ukrainian railways, as a result of a missile strike at railway substations, some trains will be delayed. There were strikes in Lviv. We'll be going through all the video. Here's the city of Lviv, western city, near Poland. It's at 6 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. There's a protest at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Apparently it's a student-led march and protest. So, reports of 2 explosions near Lviv. All right, let's look at video. Video from the day of Lviv. Video of a Russian cruise missile strike on Lviv today. Apologies.
Йду.
Бачиш, що робиться в нас? А що вони колію, та? Давай, діваємося.
So that's in Lviv. Further video, another explosion, another video of an explosion in Lviv after a Russian cruise missile strike. You can see the electrical explosion there. Again, this is in the city of Lviv. There's been at least one strike a week in the city. This is the city Angelina Jolie was just in, that we watched a couple days ago. I think this is let me see what this said on the report. Telecommunications. Partial blackout. They hit a communications relay. Confirmed an internet disruption has been registered in Lviv, western Ukraine, amid reports of explosions and power outages following a Russian missile strike. Real-time network data shows connectivity levels are down 87% of previous levels. So this was a hard target. This was the difference between a hard target and a soft target. Soft targets are, again, hospitals, schools, apartment buildings, residential areas, where you're gonna get a lot of civilian casualties. There's always a risk of civilian casualties when you're striking in the heart of a city. But this was a strike on a communications relay, so it wasn't indirect fire or just a random strike. This was a targeted infrastructure by Russia. Oh no, Russia's not even close here. I'll show you guys where Russia is. They're able to hit it with their cruise missiles, but their soldiers, the Russian military I'll show you guys where they're at. So Russian military here in Kherson, right? They've attempted to make pushes towards Mykolaiv and it failed every time in terms of ground forces taking the city fail. Their ground forces are coming through Crimea into the southern part of Ukraine. There's ground forces around Mariupol, which we'll be watching an extended documentary tonight that just came out on the situation in Mariupol. We'll be watching that. What's it called? Mariupol: The Chronicles of Hell. It was just released 15 hours ago. It's about an hour and 21-minute documentary we're going to be watching tonight on that city. So we'll be getting into that. Ground forces are also in the east in the Donbas, in Luhansk, Donetsk, and north of Donetsk. West of Luhansk, I should say, west of Luhansk, in this region, in Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, Popasna, Lysychansk, all the cities in this region of the Donbas. Russia is looking to take them and then annex these cities like they did with Donetsk and Luhansk and Crimea. Kherson's, they're actively attempting it on a daily basis. They're trying to get that done. And then here's Kharkiv, ground forces to the east of Kharkiv. Ukrainian forces have already expelled all the Russian troops that were to the north and to the northwest. To the northeast and to the northwest of Kyiv. So, but that doesn't mean that they're not subject to missile strikes. Although there isn't any Russian ground forces to the west of the country, or to the central part of the country, all these blips on this map are missile strikes today. So just because there isn't ground forces doesn't mean that the cities aren't able to or aren't subject to missile strikes. There isn't anywhere safe within the country of Ukraine. Here's further video, another video from Lviv. You can see the electrical explosions. Right. Another video of a Russian cruise missile flying over Lviv. You guys can hear what it sounds like. Again, that's not a plane. That's not a drone. That is a missile. But you hear people gasp when you see it because that's gonna have an ending point. Here's the sound of it. Managed to record the sound of the last Russian strike on Lviv today. I pray no one is hurt. Likely coming from Crimea. We've been seeing open source intelligence people that track this stuff. We're coming from Crimea. Straight from there to the west. Multiple cruise missile strikes reported in multiple Ukrainian cities, including Lviv and Dnipro. Cruise missile flying through the air. Russian strikes reported in Lviv this evening. Some parts of the city are without power. Strikes in Lviv. Saw the dance the other night. Video. Again, this is the censored version, but here's the uncensored, because it's operational security right now after this happens to censor the buildings. This was now 5 hours ago. Well, it was longer than that. That's when Rob posted it. I mean, this was posted 7 hours ago, so it had to be like between 8 to 12 hours ago. But they censor the videos in the tops of buildings for operational security reasons, so that way Russia can't tell exactly where they hit, or like this was a hit, you can see the electrical fire, but if this was in a different region, Russia could pull up this social media video or their military and see, okay, well, we missed, and then adjust their artillery or their cruise missile locations. That's why you're starting to see more and more videos getting blurred like that. Let's continue around the country. 57 houses in Volvets without gas supply as a result of a Russian strike. So this was in the city of Transcarpathia, or Transcarpathia region. I never heard of Transcarpathia before. But it's even further to the west, and it's southwest of Lviv. Here's video from that. There's a strike in the mountainous region of Transcarpathia. It is the first time to be targeted. This is the oblast, the furthest southwest, and borders Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and Romania. It's also a sign that any military infrastructure could be a target at any time. Transcarpathia. Rocket flew into the railway station in Volovets. Sorry, now there's not another V. Near the station, windows were shattered within a radius of 500 meters, and cars were damaged.
Рядышком ебануло, посмотри. У нас повылетали все окна. Просто жесть. Мы бежим куда-то в бомбоубежище. Просто пиздец. У нас тупо рядышком ебануло, посмотри. У нас повылетали все окна. Просто жесть.
Also, while I was doing this and I looked it up, I didn't know this, but there was actually a protest against the war in Ukraine. Stop the draft. Fierce Ukrainian women protest at the military enlistment office in Kust. I have no idea. Transcarpathia. Wives and mothers of draftees demand an explanation why their loved ones are being sent to the front without necessary training and equipment. This is May 1st in Transcarpathia.
До людей, до жон, простих жон без нічого вийти не може. Боїться. Просто дати відповідь. Це наш чоловік. Мог вийти, того могла не бити, мог просто вийти зубато, просто мог вийти. Просто вийти до жунда, об'яснити, мог просто вийти, не хоче вийти. Має так, люди, жони мають вставати. Не хоче навіть воєнком вийти до людей, сидить, прячеться. До людей, до
So that was in the same region that this strike happened today. That was 2 days ago, this protest. All right, let's continue on. So there is anti-war protests in Ukraine, within Ukraine, against sending their loved ones into the front lines. Explosions reported in Venetia region. So all I saw for video here was cruise missiles flying over. The sound of cruise missiles. I looked up video and there isn't any in Venetia. Here's some interesting news, and I should have included this in the rundown before I started, because this is a big deal, at least to what I feel is a big deal. We'll see where it goes. But Russian military officers in Transnistria, they're sending their family home. In Transnistria are preparing to evacuate the families of Russian officers. General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Units, task forces of Russian troops continue to be in full combat readiness. That's in the breakaway region of Transnistria, near in Moldova. This is that breakaway region, and we looked up the history of that. And the final before it became Transnistria and a breakaway region was the battle that Russia, Transnistrian separatists, and Ukraine's far-right militias all fought together in 1992, and then asserted that breakaway region into what it is today. So that's the Ukraine's far-right militias were fighting with Russia to help this breakaway region become what it is. So we'll see more on that. That's the latest update in Transnistria. Russian officers' families are being sent back to Russia. Missile strike in Artsies of Odessa region confirmed by the city mayor. So there's been increased strikes in the Odessa region on a weekly basis. Increased. It used to be once in a while. Now it's like Lviv. Lviv's getting hit maybe once a week, a couple times a week. Lviv, but Odessa is now seeing strikes routinely. Routine strikes in the city of Odessa. Let's look at video. I think I have the video pulled up already. Here we go. Today there were massive attacks on many cities in Ukraine. Air defense shot down missiles over Kyiv and Vinnytsia. Explosions are reported in Lviv and Odessa. Quick video of the cruise missile. This was posted on May 2nd, so this would have been Monday for us. The Russian missiles hit the city again, killing a 14-year-old boy. A 17-year-old girl was also injured and hit in a dormitory. Yes, there was strategic intelligence analysis. There was an uptick in strikes all across Ukraine. It just reminds me of when, I think, what, Nancy Pelosi visited yesterday, or was it the day prior? My days are getting mixed up. And the comments were like, oh, it must be safe in Ukraine if Nancy Pelosi's visiting. And look at the map. This was today. All the strikes around the entire city, around the entire country. There is nowhere safe. All of these are in major areas. This is in Kyiv. That's near the capital. Here's Lviv. This is where Angelina Jolie just visited, and she was taking cover from missile air raid alarms. And the city was just hit today. This is even further to the west in Ukraine, near, again, Slovakia, Hungary, and Romania. And Poland's right there. It's in a little pocket right next to NATO right here. And then Odessa continues to get hit, I'd say daily at this point. In the last few, it's becoming an increased pattern. And then in the central part of the country, Dnipro, Kryvyi Rih, Kropyvnytsky. These central regions within Ukraine all are getting hit, and then that's not even counting all the military ground forces combat that continues happening in the east. Let's continue working our way around counterclockwise around the country. This is southeast of Mykolaiv. 4 posts and Orlan 10 drones were destroyed this morning in Odessa and Mykolaiv regions. So they destroyed some more of those Orlan 10 drones that we saw Operator Starsky break down. They're not very good drones. Continuing around. We'll come back to Mariupol. Again, we're going to be watching a documentary on Mariupol. We have a Johnny FD video to tune into tonight. I haven't seen Johnny FD in a while since he was in Kyiv, but he has returned. We'll come back to Mariupol. Now let's get to the Donbas region. At least 9 people were killed in Russian attacks today in the Donetsk region. Russian aviation conducted an airstrike in central Avdiivka. Blurred individual of the top picture is a blurred picture of somebody, so I'm not going to have that on the screen. And it looks like a grave, so looks like a strike. What is this here? No, that's a crater. Let's translate this. Read it direct. Nope, that didn't give a translation. Oh, it's not giving the full trend. Why? Let's just start from Start from here. Maybe it'll translate this here. There we go. Russian aircraft bombed Avdiivka in the morning. A residential area in the central part of the city is under attack. Last night, the occupiers used grad in the same direction. It says Grady, but I know it's supposed to say grad. The consequences of the shelling and bombing have yet to be determined, but at least 3 people have been killed and 2 wounded and 8 damaged. As a result of the morning shelling of Vuhledar, 3 people were killed while drinking water. 3 more civilians were killed in the shelling of the Liman. The Orkacheren community is also under enemy fire today. We are clarifying the information on victims and destructions. We carefully record all Russian war crimes on our land. And actually, I just remembered something from Venetia that we need to watch. So let's actually go back to Venetia. Oh, where's that video? There it is. Here it is. So we're going to go back to Venetia really quick. I apologize. This just popped into my head. So we're going to go backwards. So this is Donbas. We're going back to Venetia. Okay, back to the west for a feel-good story. We've had lots of destruction and death, and I'm trying to find as many feel-good stories from this war as I can. So this is in Venetia, and a woman, what's her name? Natalia, rescued 50 pets from Kharkiv, the city of Kharkiv. So she brought them from here, or rescued them somehow from this city, which the city of Kharkiv continues to get shelled on a daily basis as well, multiple times a day since the beginning. And she was able to bring 50 pets back to Venetia in this region. Rescued 50 of them. Some said, "Open the gates and let them go. How could I leave them? How could I leaving them to hunger?" This is Natalia Brutashenka. She rescued over 50 pets from Russian bombardments in Kharkiv and evacuated them to Venetia.
Деякі в нас там люди говорили, хто відкриє ворота і хай йдуть. Як я могла випустити таке, ну скільки тварин, голодними. Волонтери, вони наскільки, вони мені допомагали в усьому. Вони поки тут всіх тварин мені не розмістили, не поставили їм будки, не прив'язали, вони не уїхали. Перший день я плакала. Думаю, боже, їх привезла сюди, оці мелкі, вони неуправляємі, вони по вулиці розбіглися.
Вони не заслуговують на таке жорстоке поводження, тому ми спасаємо як можемо. Коли в населений пункт...
A lot of y'all are going to have to go and rewatch the entire stream because your eyeballs are glued to the chat. That's too bad.
Який знаходиться поруч з нами, прилетіла ракета.
Y'all do know the chat, you can like close it out and take a break from it, but the video will still play. You can take a break from chat.
Наші собаки за добу до цього почали рити ями. Звісно, вони бояться, коли вони чують якісь вибухи, вони бігають, не можуть знайти собі місця. Давай. Ось так.
I wonder if there's any adoption organizations for people to adopt some of these animals.
Шабакен хороший, да, звезда экрана, да? И звезда экрана.
Давай, заходим домой, скорей. Ой, хороший, быстрей.
So, rescued 50 animals from Kharkiv and brought them back to Venetia. I forgot about that. I just wanted to come back to it. All right, let's go back to the Donbas. I feel that's a nice story. All right. So, back to the Donbas region. Ground forces are fighting. All right, let's scroll up a little more. Oh, we don't need to sorry about that. Go back around to the east. Let's go a little bit north. Swinging around in our map. Russian TOS-1 strike on Yampil near an electrical substation. There's A lot of substation strikes, communications towers and relays are being taken out. Trying to take out Ukraine's communication abilities. Again, this is Russian video on Yampol near electrical substation. And they just hit an electrical or communications relay in Lviv today. That's the biggest thing you take out is information, flow of information and communications. That's the first thing. Yampol. That doesn't make sense. That's not in the Donbas. Unless I got the wrong Yampol. What the hell? Does this one make more sense? That doesn't make sense either. Okay, now I'm even more confused. Alright, so it says that this is in the Donbas region. Yampol. What the? There's a city named Yampol here. Okay. So city of Yampol. There's one to the west too in Venetia, touching Transnistria too. Not that one though. This Yampol. Okay. I was about to challenge the video for a second, but no, there's two cities of Yampol. That one is in the east. Right? What's this one? This is Lehman, right? Yep. This is in the city of Lehman. We looked at those pictures and the civilian blurred out. Let's work our way up to Kharkiv now. Russian troops and shelling in central Kharkiv and the Pavlov Pole and Oleksandria. I do apologize, some of these words are tough to say, y'all. Russian troops continued to shell the center of Kharkiv, Pavlo, Poli, and Oklazivka, just Oleksivka districts. Residents of these areas are asked to urgently go down to the shelter and not leave them unnecessarily throughout the day. Okay. Let's continue on. Russian drones were neutralized by Ukrainian electronic warfare means at northern and eastern front lines. It's a Telegram post. Oh, here's pictures. Right on the border of Russia, taking drones out. Drone warfare. How do you guys feel about drones? And how they're, I mean, again, NATO was using drones in the war on terror, but not like, we're not watching, you're watching two conventional militaries use drones against each other. Russian army shelled Zolochiv and Zolochiv community from occupied Kozacha Lopan with artillery overnight. Messing up those names too. On the night of May 3rd, the Russian occupiers again fired on Zolochiv from the temporary captured Cossack Lopan. The businessman's house was destroyed and cattle burned. The shelling of the community's village continues. Shelling of the community's villages continues. Let's go look at Belgrade. Now we're going into Russia because I'm going to stay counterclockwise. Missile launches over Tavrovo and Nikolosk in Belgrade. This is Russia. And that's in Belgorod, Russia. There's been increased fires and unknown if they're strikes or not, but there's been increased, let's say, happenings where things end up on fire and then explode afterwards in Russia. That's been increasing. Unclear where the source of it is, or what the what the source of the strikes are. Russian army shelled Kyiv border community in the Sumy region with mortars. Russia once again provoked on the border of the Sumy region about 12 o'clock. The enemy opened fire from mortars on the territory of the Glukov community, the chairman of the OVA, Dmitry Zavitsky, reported. Telegram, huge platform for information. Huge platform being utilized for information. Okay, let's get some of these blue blips that I missed. Maps locking up. Again, the blue icons on the map are Ukraine. The red icons on the map are Russia. All right, whenever you see these icons on the screen. So like, here's an example of a blue one. So this is a Ukrainian strike. Okay, blue Ukraine. Now let's go down over here in Odessa. See how these ones are red with the same icon? The same looking icon. That's Russia, when a Russian strike. Ukraine in the vicinity of Bayrak, Kyiv Oblast, Ukrainian forces claim to destroy 3 BMP IFVs on the Russian army. There's a city called Bayrak. Right in the middle of an intersection. Like the video if you guys haven't. We got nearly 900 tuned in, 318 likes. Like button helps the algorithm. Thank you guys that are all that engage with the stream. I don't post videos to the channel, so I'm kind of at a handicap loss to other channels. Oof. I need to start posting videos. To have a channel of all live streams and to have nearly 40,000 followers is awesome, y'all. Thank you again, or subscribers. Thank you to everybody that subscribes to the channel. Nearly 40,000 in all live streams. I think I've posted 2 videos on this channel. Really hard to make it doing all live streams on YouTube, I tell you that. Continue on here. So there's some video right in the middle of an intersection. Ukrainian strike. And then Ukrainian military destroyed Russian supply convoy near Vasily village in the Kharkiv region. Let's get a translation on this quick. The armed forces destroyed the supply column of the occupiers. Again, that's the occupiers or Russian forces with BC and fuel near the village of Vasily in the Kharkiv region. Wow. Why do they have? Oh, probably for a quick ambush. I don't know. I don't. I gotta assume. I gotta remember that Russia is trained terribly. They have their stuff right off the intersection. They had stuff right off the intersection. Now what's this here? Another city taken back by Ukrainian army liberated Moldova village. Is that the name of the village? Near Stary Saltiv in the Kharkiv region. I know, literally, they're blind as hell. So the Ukrainian forces retook a village. Whenever you see a flag on the map like that, that means that they got a city back, or they have a village back. There was a bunch of them the other day. They got a bunch of, or Ukraine took back a bunch of villages here east of Kharkiv. So here's another village that was taken back. What's this here? That's the strike. Yep. All right, let's swing around to Kyiv because there was a strike in the Kyiv Oblast again. Explosions reported in the Kyiv region. Possible air defense engagement. Cruise missiles seen overflying in multiple regions within Ukraine. Yeah, there were videos. We watched a few of them of all the cruise missiles flying in the air. Back to it, Mariupol. We'll get to that. Oops. Close that. We'll get to all the cruise missiles flying. So now that we're near the Kyiv region, I want to hop over to Johnny FD. This is a video from May 1st. Inside Hostomel, other Bucha, Irpin, Mariupol. So this is Johnny FD. We watched his live streams walking around Kyiv when the invasion first began, and he was able to evacuate. Now he's back. He's back in Ukraine again. So this is Johnny FD. I subscribe to him on this channel. There we go. Make sure you guys go subscribe and support his channel.
Village. There's some babushkas standing on the side of the road. There's families kind of just, you know, out and about. And we're asking, do you need anything? Do you need bread? You know, would you like some Easter cake? You know, is there anything you need? So, добрый день. Как дела? Сейчас это все? Okay. Happy Easter. Take care. So, just taking care of families and whoever we can. Like, imagine these people living here. You know, they don't have much. They don't have access to much either. So let's get back in the car.
This is Hostomel Elementary School. So I'm going to show you guys the region they're in right now. That's to the northwest of Kyiv. So they're up here. Here's Hostomel on the map. Okay. They're in this region. Bucha is where the mass grave site came from, where the videos and everybody, I don't even know how to explain it, that giant mass grave that's still being investigated in the city of Bucha. This is Hostomel. There was a big helicopter battle over the airport when the invasion began. So that's Hostomel.
So hi.
Hi.
Where are you from?
We're Kyiv citizens.
And you came to and the school. What are you doing here?
We're cleaning school after orcs.
The Russian orcs, the Russian soldiers
Yeah.
came.
Orcs.
And
We call them orcs or Bottlestan.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Bottlestan.
were the
Bottlestan.
what
Yeah,
was
like
yeah.
Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Bottlestan.
What were the Russians doing in the school?
They were sitting here afraid of our army
Yeah.
and
Oh.
peeing on the everywhere.
Yeah. And the school is normally for what like a middle, like what age?
That's elementary, middle school.
Okay.
And the Russians
Yeah.
are living in the school.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why we see the MREs and stuff.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that these were not expired, but many of them probably were, right?
This is orc food.
Yeah, from till 23rd.
But knowing the Russians, maybe they just changed the date.
But anyway.
Yeah. But I'm happy they're out of the city now. What is the name of this town?
Gostomel.
So I noticed that.
So you do say it with a G. Okay, it's Gostomel. It's not with an H. Okay.
In the news, we always hear about like Bucha and Irpin, but we never hear about Gostomel. Why?
Yeah. I'm not sure actually, because everything what you have seen in Irpin or Bucha, everything was happening here.
I seen it. We drove by. We saw so many damaged buildings.
Yeah, that was media wave, I think.
Yeah.
Like
These are residents of Kyiv that are just there to help. They live in the capital city of Kyiv. So again, really quick, here's Kyiv, the capital city, and then Gostomel is right here. Here's a clear view. That's these northwestern satellite cities: Vorzel, Bucha, Irpin, Gostomel, right here. So these guys are from the capital, which is right next to it.
So many damaged buildings.
Yeah, that was maybe a wave, I think.
Yeah.
Like our president were visiting Bucha and Irpin.
Dude, this was already almost a month ago. It seems like this just happened. We have a documentary on southeastern Ukraine that we're going to watch tonight.
So after that, every press were there, but nobody heard about Hostomel. So we decided to do our best to clean it up and help to the people.
Well, дякую. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
And nice to meet you.
Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава. So even though the media...
What is the hat this guy's got on? Hold on. He got the eagle on.
So even though the media, really had put a big focus on a couple big cities, or big names at least, Irpin, Bucha, Mariupol, there's so many other towns, villages, and cities that have been equally destroyed, and people are suffering. So even though it's good to help and donate to those cities and volunteer in those cities, one of the reasons why I wanted to come to Ukraine and to come to this area is see for myself and talk to the locals and figure out where can we direct help, how can we best serve the community of Ukrainians. And you can see, there's people suffering everywhere. They need help. So I'm glad we're here today. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
You're living here.
1 people, 2 people,
Uh-huh.
3 people left to this.
Okay. Good luck, Slava
Go,
Ukraine.
go. So good.
Hello. How are you?
Oh yeah, fist bump.
Вон еще.
Є ще, да? Да. Я туди підійду до вас.
Ні, я буханку дайте і все.
Дайте ще, чорний білий, дай.
Yeah. This guy looks like he's been through a lot in life, especially these last 2 months.
No, he's got an eagle with a bit of an American flag.
А що здали? Світло включили чи
Damn, fighting for your independence against a country that's trying to prevent that sounds awfully like an origin story of a certain country.
Yes.
This bread factory
Uh-huh.
that we've been to,
Uh-huh.
he's able to get half of the ton of bread per day.
Half a ton? That's a lot. That's what?
Сейчас
1,000 pounds. 1,000.
Wow.
Поначалу я там 2 тонны в день я выбирал.
At first, he got like 2 tons per day to deliver to more places. Now he has like limit half of the ton.
Okay.
So 1,000 pounds.
That's
a long way.
У людей-то они ж позабирали в погребах вообще все, не было ничего. Ну, то есть люди начали умирать от холода и от голода.
People even start starving and dying from hunger and stuff like this. So everything what they had, their personal stock of potato and stuff was taken by Russian soldiers.
The Russians stole all the food.
Yeah.
Я только что задал вопрос, уже есть. Свет есть, газ есть в некоторых домах, воды еще нету.
Electricity, gas. Not everywhere they have water yet, but they actively working on it.
But they were missing it for a long time.
For the longest
Готовят
time, yeah.
кушать. Здесь в данный момент сейчас...
Smoke on top of this building.
No, this is not Roman. This is Johnny FD. Please go subscribe. Here, I'll drop the link to this video in our Discord. All right, doing it right now. Join our Discord server, and then you guys can get this link to this whole video.
Why is this church on fire?
Even though I believe this video was already posted, but I'll post it again, which is another reason why you guys should join our server, because these videos, a lot of y'all are on it all the time. So if you want to see this stuff before I show it, or if you want to watch it in your free time, join our Discord server.
Oh my god.
Here are civilian cars where also fish.
So Vlad, where are we going now?
I don't know the exact place, but it's some small village where humanitarian aid can barely reach them.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So so the Chechens are here, like literally in the spot where we are.
Yeah, so the Chechens are just bullies that only want to fight when they outnumber you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now we're gonna take a little lunch break. It's like like our dacha almost. This is like perfectly, like the perfect scenario. We stopped for a quick lunch, and our lunch is basically one of the loaves of the bread. Don't worry, we have 500 more to give away. But with little sausages. Yeah, this is the life. I'm doing this for one day or a couple days. They've been doing this every day since the war started. So really, hats off to these guys. So especially in these little villages and towns, supermarkets and a lot of the actual grocery stores are just completely shut. So the only way to buy food is through nice babushkas like this.
Vote in our poll. I asked a question. How much longer do you think this war will last? 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, or 1 to 2 years?
So somebody wants to buy, food to eat, salt, eggs, cooking oil, kind of the basics to live, a little bit of meat, some sauces, milk, and luckily they also have fresh vegetables. They probably all come from farms nearby.
Let's go.
Alright, so now we're in this small village just outside of Yanukovych's old hunting ground. And there's only 15 people living here left. So with only 15 people, you can tell why it's hard for them to get any help from anyone. So we're gonna give them a box of Easter cakes.
Ту коробку пусту, хліба положи. 20 чорного, 20 батон. Дивіться, дівчата, це паски, це свіжі. Отаке. Тільки скажіть, скільки душ людей, щоб я розумів, скільки нам лишити пасок. Так. Порахуйте, і зараз скільки. 2, 4, 6, 8, 12.
Well, we're gonna give them a whole big box of bread. Basically, they're gonna feed this whole village. There's no no supermarkets or anything here. Oh. Can you ask them, like, where do they get food normally? Are there any supermarkets or anything open?
Обычно еду привозят вам?
Було помощі. Да, днів 3 назад, чи 4 було, да, гуманітарка.
Пару днів привозять, да?
Днів 4 назад було, да, привозили.
Що привозять?
Консерви, да, і це, консерви, консервацію.
А хліба за весь час не привозили?
Ні, привозили.
Like 3-4 days ago, they got some humanitarian aid, but that's it. No stores, nothing.
Wow.
Water?
They probably have their own.
Well or something, yeah, rainwater, but that's hard, yeah. Wow, more bread. So there's 15 people living here, or?
Approximately 15, but they said give us some extra
just in case.
Yeah, if somebody will be here.
Okay.
Plus, they want some for soldiers who are here also.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Smashnogo. Enjoy. Yeah, будь ласка.
Сполучені Штати.
Я американець. Hello.
І моя дружина з Нідерландів.
Yes, but no Slava Ukraine. Это много хлеба. Whoa. So,
Looks like some good bread.
Дякую вам.
Soggy though because it's raining.
Нами там здоров'я, миру.
That'll definitely help that.
so nearby one of these villages is an old military museum.
Wow. You just have a military
Few months
museum in
ago,
the village, dude?
This would have been kind of cool, seeing something from the last war, which is 1944, 1951. But now when we talk about the last war, we're talking about 2022. It's crazy, right? So are any of these tanks the ones that are being used now in the war?
Yes, the Russians use something like this.
Wow.
Yeah, all that.
Ukraine also. We have this T-64.
That's their howitzer over there that they have.
T-64, they're more or less the same.
You built them to
That's
87,
crazy.
so they're still out.
Yeah. So I was really hoping to see some of the burned tanks on the side of the road during the drive, but I was saying that they wanted to clear it because it's literally just rotting garbage or rusting garbage on the side of the road. So most of that was cleared up from the side of the roads already. But I will find one and I will pee on you before I leave. That's my goal.
I won't leave in Ukraine until I pee on a Russian tank. That's where the subscribe. Everyone make sure you go subscribe to Johnny FD. This channel's so good.
So no, this is a museum piece.
That's the howitzer that we saw being used in Mariupol that they're still using. Just opening up on buildings.
It's crazy seeing like soldiers in a museum that it was from 1950s, and now this is happening again.
Yeah.
With some of the same equipment. How crazy is that, right?
Russians still use this old equipment. They just put it somewhere just to save it. They want to use new weapon, but since a lot of new tanks and everything is destroyed, they actually start using this old Soviet crap.
stuff again.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
This is a memorial to all the people in the village here who died from 1941 to 1945 in the Second World War.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. All the people in the... So they have... Man.
Build a lot more of these.
Now,
2022.
Now it's 2022 in the same little village. He's going through it again.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude. They have a World War II memorial. Oh my goodness, dude.
Uh-huh.
Like you can walk up there on those otherwise there's a lot of names written, and those are probably like grandparents or great grandparents of people who are fighting right now, dying because of these like terrible machines, right? And it's just so surreal because my whole life everyone has always been, you know, every year, let this never happen again. Think about all those old people that have like great grandparents that have died, of people that I even know, right? That have fought against the Germans, and that's literally happening again.
And don't forget
as we stand here.
that those people and those people from Russian side who came to us to kill us, those are kids of those guys, grandkids of those guys. This connection is just crazy, right? When you think about this.
Yeah, because
wow.
Yeah,
it was Red Army. They were all together, and now they are killing their colleagues, kids, and grandkids of their colleagues.
right, so we drove by this village that normally has a couple hundred people living here, and they all left. So this is a completely abandoned village now because of the war. And what's really sad is, like, people in in the immediate danger zones, I understand 100% why they left. People in Kiev, I understand why they left. But it's a lot easier to leave your apartment in a big city like Kiev than it is to leave your home, to leave your garden, your pets, your family, your everybody. It's so hard to explain, but for a Ukrainian person living in a village to leave their land and their home takes a lot. And the fact that they all left, it's really sad, it's really scary. So I just realized how crazy this is, and maybe I just thought of the title of this video. It's literally delivering bread with soldiers. And it's crazy that this is necessary nowadays. Like, I mean, first off, for the last 2 months, it hasn't been safe to even deliver bread. So these guys took it up. And maybe you can argue that today, because most of the Russian soldiers are on the east, that it's relatively safe enough where you no longer need, armed personnel to go to these villages to deliver the food. But at the same time, it's like, it's not safe, because as long as Russia's at war, the troops can come back any day. They might be hiding somewhere. We're so remote that if they aren't armed, if they're not protecting themselves, if they're not protecting the village, who knows what Putin and Russian soldiers are going to do next.
Not only that, but look at the map. Again, we touched on this at the beginning of the stream, but all the red markings are strikes today. It would have been Tuesday. It's now Wednesday in Ukraine, but this was Tuesday's strikes. Look at all through the country. All through the country. Again, even though all the ground forces and the militaries are fighting each other here to the east and then to the south, some to the central southern region in Kherson, but there's strikes happening all through the country. It's not safe anywhere.
So every village has armed personnel, armed soldiers. This village is just them now. All the citizens of this village have fled. It's sad, but the soldiers still need to get fed.
So one reason why these people all need food, these are all volunteers. All these soldiers you see behind me, they're called the territorial defense. So these guys are they have normal jobs. It could be you, me, anyone. And they volunteered, and like Johnny mentioned, all the citizens, or normal people who lived here, were forced to leave, and now all these guys are here, and that's why they're getting
actually a lot of them are from here.
Are from here. They're like normal people that are now soldiers and fighting because of this crazy war. And the normal people, the women, children. If you notice, you see the one woman who's I guess kind of quote mayor of the city or whatever you want to call it,
the town. Yeah.
But the rest, if you notice, the kids and the women are gone.
Yeah.
So it's all men fighting.
Fucking blind, guys. Fucking shit. Look at this. These are markets. These are people live here, man. And look how look what Russia did to this. For what? This definitely isn't. This isn't like a military place. This is like people just living here. There's like little shops and stuff. It's all destroyed now. It's people's homes, like private civilian homes. Yeah, they're all boarded up on the side. Who are living here? Добрый день.
Вы местные? Отсюда? Да, здесь проживаете сейчас? Как ситуация здесь гуманитарка, скажите? Что привозят?
Ми не знаємо, ми вчора тільки вернулися.
Квартиры как? Дома? Слава Богу, в порядке, да? Слава Богу.
Look at all the destruction around them.
Да, вот здесь в селе. А это был? Да. Совсем плохо было.
Живий, здоровий, нормально.
So they're from this area.
They're from this area.
city.
Those two, they just came back from Odessa direction, and this guy, he always was here.
Wow. Why did Russia destroy this? Like, почему Russia fucking blend this? Like, you know, зачем? Like what is why?
Зачем вы думаете, они вот дома и квартиры разрушили? Это один снаряд прилетел? Just one missile got in here, and you can see what it. One missile.
Yeah. Wow.
Road.
One road.
Wow.
One снаряд.
And but why here? Is it like military base or was it just people living here? Like this building, is it like a residential building? Like it's a квартира нормально человек, да?
And all these people.
Магазини, м'ясо, магазин.
Butcher shop, like little corner store, like little market.
Here was nothing military related whatsoever. Nobody knows, nobody understands why they shoot normal civilians.
Fuck. Sorry. Fuck Putin.
Спасибо вам.
Okay. Дякую. Yeah. One missile did all this damage. All this damage. Like, look at this, guys. Look at this destroyed building. Like, these are real people. These are real, just everyday civilian people. They're like literally.
Look at the ones across the street. Gotta pull it up. Hold on.
Fuck Putin.
Спасибо вам.
Okay. Дякую. Yeah. One missile.
So it struck on that side of the street, and then the aftershock destroyed everything on the side that he's on.
Did all this damage. All this damage. Like, look at this, guys. Look at this destroyed building. Like, these are real people. These are real, just everyday civilian people. They're like literally waiting at a bus stop, going to work, going home. It's sad, man. Like, it's really sad. But Kyiv, and how did you get here?
Маршрутка.
Маршрутка здесь. Oh my god, это очень далеко.
Очень далеко.
Блин, извините.
На велосипеде
Да, есть велосипед, да.
площадь Шевченко.
А, да?
Ай,
Сколько километров? Shit, блин, извини. Потом слава. Fuck. These guys, because none of the grocery stores, none of the markets work. They had to go all the way to the center of Kyiv, which is like, I don't know, it's like a 30-minute drive from here. So on a bicycle it's like an hour. They're really far. Just to get food. At least he's like, I gotta have a bicycle.
Damn. They came all the way from Kyiv?
They gave up waiting for the bus. It was too long, so they're gonna walk back. Look, that's a grocery store. Destroyed. Closed. Everything's closed. So Cynthia and Vadim have been bringing groceries to people who can't get it. Like, it's insane that these guys had to go all the way to Kyiv by bicycle, which is like 30 miles away or something insane.
Yeah, that's really insane.
Because nothing's open and all the food was taken.
And then you want to buy ahead, but maybe people don't have the money to buy ahead, right? Usually they just go to their corner store, they buy for a couple of days some fresh stuff because it's not that expensive, especially not in a village like this, right? But now they have to suddenly buy things in cans from Kyiv and take it back by bike.
It's insane.
Field.
I mean, look at the trees.
Okay, yeah.
So what looks like a lake now was a field. So in order to prevent the Russian tanks, they destroyed the bridge and they flooded the field.
The bridge and cover all field around with water, so they cannot go around the bridge. Look, this is this temporary bridge that they put.
The Russians. So the Ukrainians afterwards to get people out.
Yeah.
Wow. This is not a lake. This is a field. Wow.
So that's an example of how they flooded the areas to prevent Russian advancement. They flooded it all. They being the Ukrainians. John says we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. A Churchill quote. Thank you, John.
Temporary bridge.
Обычно, когда я езжу сюда, я делаю оранжевый прекрасный автомобиль, я его поднимаю.
Maybe we'll walk. I'll walk. I'll walk. Because if I fall in the water, I can swim.
If we go down, we all go down.
I'm quite comfortable walking.
Oh, wow. Nope.
Let's try. Oh gosh. Look at this, guys.
That would have been some anxiety.
We're driving across.
That bridge looked terribly sus right there.
Destroyed bridge.
That would have been a situation. Oof.
Oh.
I would have rather walked.
Yeah.
We made it.
Oh yeah.
We're safe.
He's in the middle too. Oh man. That was scary.
But the reason, so if anyone's wondering how Kyiv was able to defend itself and how the Russians were never able to get into the Kyiv center itself, besides a couple bombs here and there, it was because the Ukrainian military was smart enough to defend, destroy the bridges, flood the fields, and have these tactics to keep them out. So they're brave, they're smart, and it worked. So thank God that, and thank the Ukrainian soldiers that the Russians, tanks and soldiers never made it to the center of Kyiv.
It's great, man. Who would ever guess that this is a field where that looks? It looks like a lake.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a lake until then you see the telephone poles and realize there's 20, 30 feet of water that has flooded a field so that the Russians can't go around this.
Yeah, and it works.
It's great tactics. So obviously it works.
Red factory?
Yes.
Oh, destroyed cars, yeah.
This guy is the one guy that they coordinate this water thing.
Him and the priest.
Yeah, with priest.
Roman and the priest, wow.
They worked out a deal with the priest to get the fields flooded?
Priest?
No, not with priest himself.
Oh, okay.
Another guy who
the
came
guy
with
that
priest.
came and brought the priest.
Priests are powerful, but not as much.
So here are just civilian cars. These are just normal people. And it's starting to rust now because it's been raining, but this is just from a few weeks ago or a month ago. The last 2 months since the war started. You can see they were all on fire because the rubber all burnt out. That's insane.
Those don't look like military targets, do they?
No. They were probably
just escape.
Yeah. And I'm sure they were just pushed to the side of the road to get off the main road. Look, bullet holes.
You can see these are bullet holes. They shot at the people.
Yeah, they shot
Right in the glass. Right in the passenger side.
at the passenger.
They shot at the passenger.
And you know what this says?
What?
You know what that says?
No.
In Russian.
What does
It says deity. It means children.
Children. So they shot at. This car was carrying kids, and the Russians, you can see.
It was a civilian, most likely it was a civilian trying to escape the war.
They shot.
They wrote.
Because if you look here, Johnny, you can see the bullets. You can see the entry points.
They're downwards to
Down.
somebody who is under 5'2", 5 foot tall.
Wow. Yeah, 4 bullets.
That's
entry
crazy.
Coming straight in.
Like, they might have been shooting at a kid. Look at this.
Yeah. There's a
There's
kid.
baby toys in the back.
Baby toys in the back.
Like,
I mean, you can see that they're
juice
obviously-
or
Yeah, there's a
tomato sauce, food. That's crazy.
Somebody was trying to drive.
Look, this.
And they had it on the side even. Look, Johnny. They had it on the side. They probably had another sign on the side trying to let them know. COVID mask.
So they were trying to leave. They wrote signs on their car that says children, and they wrote it in Russian so the Russian military could read it, and their car still got shot at.
Well, what's crazy? Look, this guy's credit cards are still here. Oh, it's a little children's painting. How insane is this? Look at this. The kid's painting is like a drawing is in there. Let me show these guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can't get into this much broken glass. But look, this is a little kid's painting. All right. This is just like, this is a civilian car, guys. All right.
Such pieces make those holes.
How insane is that? All right.
It goes with,
Like that's their, this is a normal person. That's their credit card.
Johnny, look at this.
What are those?
Those are pieces from the missile.
Pieces of shrapnel.
Wow.
Shrapnel.
Such pieces make those holes there. See?
That's crazy in the wall.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
That's how heavy that is. Such tiny.
So this is Johnny FD. He lives in Kyiv. He has an apartment in Kyiv, and he evacuated. We watched him. He was doing live streams, walking around like downtown Kyiv. So now he's back in the country, and he's doing humanitarian aid and videos.
Right.
So this is a part of the bomb that breaks off.
Yeah.
And this basically just flies.
Like 900 kilometers per hour or more.
Yeah, it's like basically they're bullets. I mean, they're big. They're bullets.
They are super sharp, and also there have been many stories of even kids who had their full legs filled with shrapnel, with pieces, right? And they can be as big as these.
Yeah. Look, somebody who died when they covered their name. This person obviously died with this car.
It's crazy, right?
Wanna take souvenirs?
No.
No souvenirs from Russia?
What's up? Fuck those guys. It's so crazy. This was on fire, so this was definitely burned out. So this was shot at and burned. It's insane. Here's some of the cats that are surviving, barely probably, but oh man.
Oh, he's buried. He's buried.
Meow. Meow.
Probably somebody's cat.
Oh my god. Hold on.
These bullets hit somebody.
Yeah.
Look at the entry point. It's going straight in. It's not on the seat. So the bullet, watch for this entry point here. There's nothing on the seat.
The seat, yeah.
So it obviously hit. Whatever was here, if you look at the target angle.
Yeah.
They hit whatever.
It's insane.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It still breaks my heart thinking back on all the people I met and all the houses I've seen, all the devastation. Honestly, before I went here back to Ukraine physically in person, I saw all this on the news. You know, maybe not all of it, but I saw a lot of the news on TV and the media. But it's different. It's very different when you're there and you actually look in these people's eyes or shake their hand. You see their houses, you know, it's like, it's hard to imagine, but it's real. It is 100% real. And it's so bad that like there were scenes I couldn't show, I had to cut out of the video because it would just get, you know, it would violate the policies here. And some of the stories I've heard from these people firsthand, like what they've witnessed, it's so sad. And you know, when I first heard, you know, Ukrainians calling the Russian soldiers orcs, I was like, oh, you know, that's kind of, you know, dehumanizing, right? But what they've done in these cities and to the people, they're not human. And this is why this war needs to end. There cannot be another month, another year of, you know, of people being trapped in their homes by Russian soldiers, you know, and it's like, it breaks my heart. It's insane to me reading comments from the other side. You know, most of them are either just, you know, Russian bots or propagandists. But what really hurts me is knowing that there's some actual people, you know, most likely people have definitely never been to Ukraine or Russia, you know, but they have their opinion that they've read online somewhere on some, you know, propagandist, you know, forum, you know, through some like alternative media or I'm America or some stupid place, you know, like, and they form their opinion. They're like, oh, well, maybe Ukrainians, Ukraine deserved to get invaded, or NATO, did this. And the thing is, even if that is a possible discussion point, and these are all things that can be discussed in peace times, right now, this war needs to end. Like, Russia took it way too far, way too far. If Russia was upset because of NATO or because of, policies or, anything, and they wanted to flex, they wanted to, do something to get attention, that's when this could have been a discussion. But the day that Russian forces started bombing civilians and killing civilians, that's when those talks ended. And now all we can do is try to help the people who are stuck in the middle of this while trying to do whatever we can to try to keep attention on our governments to send more defense so we can, we can hopefully end this war. So, big thank you to everybody who has been helping, who has been sharing these videos, who have been leaving positive comments. Huge thank you to Vladimir and Cynthia for their continued help, as well as Roman and the foundation, the volunteer foundation. It's amazing work that they're doing now, but especially these last 2 months when it was so dangerous to go to these areas. So you've seen in these videos how much they've been helping, and I want to help continue supporting them so they can help more. So if you want to donate to them directly, the links are below. You can also donate to the GoFundMe, which I cannot believe is over $20,000 already. And as you can see, the money goes directly to the people who need it the most, the people who are in these affected areas that don't get any media attention. I know, it wasn't Zelensky's fault he couldn't go to every single city. But the media will pick up the ones that get talked about. So
that's how the mainstream news works. It's why independent media is important.
As bad as Irpin and Bucha is, there's places like, Hostomel, that are just as bad. And there's so many places like this that you don't really hear about. So while I'm here in Ukraine, my goal is to uncover these places that really need help and make sure that they get their attention that they deserve and the help that they need. So thank you for supporting, and thank you for being with this journey to help in whatever way we can, guys. Love Ukraine.
All right, that's from Johnny FD. I posted that video in the Discord. You guys can check that out and watch that again if you need to. All right, let's continue going. Here's a video I found on Instagram of the efforts for helping the pets, and there's more humanitarian aid, bringing dog food to villages that need it.
Алла вердет Одессы за то, что мы их защищаем, не пускаем никуда. Тонна хорошего корма хэппи-дог. Звоним, пишем, девчоночки, налетай подешевело, бо завтра могу не отдать.
Одесса, спасибо. Мы вас любим, обнимаем. Мира.
All right, that's an example of dog food being delivered for humanitarian aid, helping all the pets and animals along the way. All right, let's go to, we're at an hour and a half in. Comment where you guys are tuned in from, what city, what state, where in the world you guys are watching from. Again, I'm your host, Andrew Mercado, streaming here from Minnesota. I'm an independent journalist, U.S. Army veteran. We've been covering the war in Ukraine literally since the first night of the invasion. So we've been going, all these sources we've been using since day one. Anybody that started posting about other things or became a little, the message seemed to be a little different from just showing us like what's happening, I took them off the list. But all these sources we've had since day one. We've been covering it since the beginning. I take 2 nights off a week, but we continue on. We're gonna be going until, we got an hour and a half, but another hour and a half in, and we still have an entire documentary to watch about the city of Mariupol. So we're going to be getting and covering some of the news that's happening to the southeastern part of Ukraine. We got Australia tuned in, Tampa, Florida. Welcome. How you doing from Moose, Maine? How you doing, Fort Myers, Florida, Faribault, Minnesota, East Freedom, Pennsylvania, Louisville, Kentucky, Phoenix, Arizona, Landa, Mary, Hamilton, Ohio, Bakerville, California, Buffalo, New York, Tacoma, Washington. How you doing? Atwood, Illinois is watching. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Halifax, Canada. Thank you guys. Again, this is a 420 friendly stream. 420 friendly stream. Thank you. David Linton, how you doing, buddy? Chilton, Wisconsin. How you doing? We got Sydney, Australia is tuned in. Eastern New York. Welcome. Watching from Rhode Island, Port Townsend, and Washington State. All right, here's some news here. It is now 7 a.m. and the sun has risen on the 69th day of the Russian invasion of the capital city of Kyiv. It has been more than 2 months, yet Ukraine continues to live and fight on. Glory to Ukraine. Continue to live and fight on. Let's look at Rob Lee's war coverage or war footage clips of the day before we get to this other documentary. Make sure we're refreshed. We got Duluth, Minnesota's tuned in. Welcome again, the independent media, you guys that are members of the channel, those that send super chats and super stickers. Thank you to everybody that does support independent news media. So, Rob Lee, video of a Russian BM-21 Urigan MLRS reportedly in the Kyiv Oblast being used. The other thing we have too is an amazing veteran community, and I am a veteran. I served in the U.S. Army from 2012 to 2020. 4 years active duty, stationed in Alaska, and then with one tour to the Middle East. And then the last of my contract, the other 4 years, I was in the Army Reserves in Minnesota. So if you served in the military, comment your branch and years of service. Thank you to our amazing veteran community that tunes in every night. Got the V on it. Intense video. Again, that's a pro-Russian video. Russian BM-27 Urigan MLRS reportedly in Kharkiv. Video of Ukrainian SSO snipers. They claim they destroyed a BMP-2 with an armor-piercing and incendiary rounds that struck its ammunition and damaged another vehicle by hitting its engine.
О, ты, получается, снайперский артиллерист.
So, sniper being used. Utilized video of DNR artillery strikes on houses in Marinka. So, it's a Russian video. Marinka. Donetsk. So, here's Donetsk. This is in the Donbas to the east. Marinka. The red marker, excuse me, to the west of Donetsk, but it's to the east of the country. No audio in this one. That's a good point. The music helps it trend when they use. Oh, that's dude. I didn't even think of that point. When they attach that viral. Oh, yeah. When you attach viral music audio to your clips, it gets seen more. So that's why you hear that one techno beat constantly. That makes sense. Music algorithm. No audio to this clip though. This is again in the city of Marinka, Russian strikes on civilian houses. All right, let's continue on. A video reportedly of the aftermath of Ukrainian strikes on a Russian ammo and fuel convoy. I think we saw this video, just in case we didn't. This is that fuel convoy that's right off the intersection in the tree line. I think, yeah, we did watch this. I don't know. Right off the main intersection. Another Ukrainian TB2 UCAV video reportedly showing strikes on Russian positions on Snake Island. So this is a Bayraktar. Bayraktar strike on Russian targets on Snake Island.
Все. 30 секунд. Двадцать секунд. Десять. Есть. Блять,
Зайчик мой, все-таки там. Сколько там ракет?
Вітаю вас.
On Russian positions on Snake Island. Here's a cruise missile flying over the Kyiv Oblast. There were cruise missiles flying all over Ukraine on Tuesday. Okay. Russian KH-101 cruise missile. So the cruise missile sounds like when it flies. Another video of a Russian cruise missile flying over Lviv. Again, the country faced lots of strikes on Tuesday. There was cruise missiles flying everywhere, and this is the ones that landed. This isn't counting the ones that were intercepted by Ukrainian air defense. Another video of an explosion in Lviv. So this happened in Lviv. You see that electric explosion too. That's in the western city of Lviv. Cruise missile flying over the Venetia region. Yeah, that's a sound you don't want to hear, that whistle sound. It's a cruise missile heading in. Video of Wagner private military contractor throwing hand grenades into a building. The first lands outside with Ukrainian soldiers. The end of the clip reportedly shows Ukrainian soldiers being taken as prisoners. No audio on this one. The Ukrainian forces are inside of this building. These are all Russian soldiers on the outside. The guy that keeps popping out of this doorway is Russian. Trying to get a grenade. What is it? He's like inside of it at this point. What are you? Half of his body's inside of the house that they're trying to get into. Okay. And all right. So at the end there, we don't need to see the ending. There's a lot of bodies on the ground at the end of that. I saw for a second, and then it's the Wagner group in Russia. Another video from Lviv. We saw that video from the strike. Video of a Russian cruise missile strike on Lviv today. This is the Wagner private military contractors assaulting a trench in Okay. Here's more from that. First part of a long UAV video reportedly showing Wagner private military contractors during the assault on Popasna. The first video appears to show a Ukrainian soldier retreating from the trench. Look up where that city is. It's a city that Rob from Speak the Truth keeps saying it's Pop Santa. Like right in between, north of Luhansk and Donetsk. Right on the red marker. So Wagner private military contractors that Russia's using. I don't know. We'll have to look at it. We'll have to look up a video quick on the Wagner group. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about them. It's pronounced as Wagner with a V. We'll watch a video on Wagner, apparently. It's a German group. It's hard to like see where they're at. To the next video. Here's a much clearer video. This clip shows the Wagner private military contractors assaulting the trench. This is before they move in on that house we saw. You can see the one soldier, oh, it's behind my camera, and there's another one on the edge. This one, the soldier's behind this shack right here. Yep, drone footage it says. This is the clip just before the first one we watched. We saw the second, we saw the first one already. Saw that video. Saw that already. Video of a Ukrainian soldier launching a Martlet man-pads, reportedly at a Russian Orlan 10 UAV. So that's how they're shooting those Orlan 10s down. We saw Operator Starsky dissect one of those and how bad that how bad the Orlan 10s are. Here's one. The Orlan 10 UAV. ART world.
Everyone.
All right, we'll go back to that. That's about the Wagner group. Photos of Russian cam with the coke cage on it. And some bullets went right through. A Russian cam AZ truck with retrofitted coke cage on the front. All right, what's this one? A video from a Russian Ka-52 helicopter firing rockets into the air at Ukrainian positions from Pervomaisk. You likely wouldn't do this to suppress a target while your forces are advancing because of the accuracy. What does that mean? That means that this is out of the ordinary then? You likely wouldn't do this to suppress a target while your forces are advancing. Oh, so that basically they're at risk of hitting their own guys. Trying to make sense of Russian tactics doesn't... I don't even know why I continue to do that. That's a Ka-52 Alligator helicopter that Russia has. All right. Continuing on. Video of Russian strikes on a Ukrainian trench in the Izium area. Here's Izium on our map in the east in the Donbas. Russian strikes on a Ukrainian trench. Video reportedly of a Ukrainian Mi-8. This was from a few days ago. Yeah, it's the same clips that were circulating. We saw that a couple days ago. Here, saw those two. Video of Russian artillery strikes on a Ukrainian defensive position in Donetsk. This position looks well fortified, and the soldiers are likely underground. They built a trench system all up under there. 2 layers of trenches. Look at, they got a layer up, they got trenches up on the hill. And they have trenches up here too. In the front. They have a whole, look at, this is where they probably have tunnels up here. Trench warfare with UAVs and cruise missiles and trenches still effective in 2022. I know all these holes in the ground is from artillery that you see. All these craters through everything. All these black spots on the screen in the grass, that's all artillery craters. All of it. All artillery craters. Yep. The only thing that doesn't have the craters, and I'm sure there is, even in the tree line, you can't see it. That's the only place you don't see the craters. Is the line of trees here. The T of trees. That's about it. Everywhere else you see there isn't a piece that doesn't have a hole from artillery shellings. Thank you, Mika, for that. Thank you. Oh. All right. Video of Ukrainian artillery strikes on Russian forces with a BTR-82 and a CAM-AZ truck in Avdiivka. Where is that? So this is a Ukraine strike on Russian military equipment. It's to the west of Donetsk. Avdiivka. To the west of Donetsk, this city right here, this village, city. That was in the wood line. Here's a video of artillery strikes reportedly on a Russian BTR and an ammunition warehouse by Ukraine's 81st Air Mobile Brigade. They're using like PlayStation 2 menu music. I don't know what that's about. Got like PlayStation 2 motocross music on. UAV footage showing Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions. The UAV was purchased through crowdfunding. UAV footage showing Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions. A crowdfunding drones. I don't know what we're seeing here. Oh, they're at a distance. Hard to see. And we saw, oh, here's a RT video. Video of Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions near Volnovaka. Look at all the craters. That does show how inaccurate they are. How inaccurate the Russian artillery is. Just terrible. Craters, look at this. There's just craters all over this whole view here, and they were super zoomed out. This is just all the big craters. You can't, if it was zoomed in, I'm sure you'd be able to see a lot more. This whole place, this whole area. RT, Russia Today. That's why you got the big RT on the screen. All right, now let's go to John. That was Rob Lee's war clips of the day. Good update from John Sweeney. We got 69. Oh, we got a few. Saw that one. Kyiv Diary Day 69 on the psychology of Vladimir Putin's military incompetence. If you guys haven't, please like the video. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to Mercado Media on YouTube. Thank you so much for supporting independent journalism, open source intelligence, and just citizens standing up and covering breaking news. There's a lot of independent journalists that are doing this. Thank you guys so much for supporting Mercado Media.
Day 69 of Vladimir Putin's war. The electricity is still on. The
orange hats in the chat. Oh, looks like we need to get an orange bandana. You need to update to an orange bandana in the chat. But for now, orange hats.
Kyiv Diary Day 69 of Vladimir Putin's war. The electricity is still on. The internet is still on. There are no Russian warships in the Dnipro, and I'm still wearing my lucky orange headband. Remember, my lucky orange hat has been put into a prize draw, which you can crowdfund for £1 or €1 each, and that benefits Ukrainian charities. So the war in Donbas is not going well for Vladimir Putin's killing machine, just like the war for Kyiv. Both battles, the Russian army have failed to make great progress. Why is that? Remember, on day 2, both the CIA and MI6 and both London and Washington were telling President Zelensky to get out of town, to flee Kyiv, and they would help him set up a government in exile in Poland. This advice was catastrophically wrong. And it's down to Zelensky's courage that he stuck to his guns and stayed here in Kyiv. So why did they misread the essential weakness and fragility of the Russian army? Everyone should read On the Psychology of Military Incompetence by Norman H. Dixon. It's a great and very funny and dark book about how stupid generals can be. And what Dixon does is he isolates 5 generals, British, who screwed up mightily, from the idiot who invaded Kabul in the 1841, General Elphinstowe, to General Percival, who betrayed the British Army in Singapore. And in each and every military disaster, you have a disastrous general who is a weak authoritarian, insecure, brittle, not opening up to criticism or mockery, not opening up to what's going on, lacking intelligence. And that describes Vladimir Putin too. Love from Kyiv. Kyiv
Update number 1 from John. Here's another one. Kyiv Diary Day 69 update. A simple message to Vladimir Putin once again. Oh, there's his hat.
Kyiv Diary Day 69 update. It's that bloody noise again. Vladimir Putin, do fuck off.
There's his message for the day. That's John's message to everyone. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I think we're gonna get heading down into Mariupol now. Actually, let's watch this quick documentary on Wagner Group, and then we're gonna get into Mariupol and watch the documentary. We're at the 2-hour mark, anyways. Likely gonna go 3.5 hours tonight, so we got an extended coverage. If you can't stay up late, I get it. The stream gets posted to YouTube afterwards, so if you gotta head to bed because of work tomorrow or whatever, you guys can catch up on anything you missed, because the stream does get posted to the channel right afterwards, so you can watch it whenever you want. Got DVR on and everything. You can watch it and pause it, replay it as much as you like to. So let's watch some information on the Wagner Group, Russia's Blackwater. All right, let's get some information on that, because I personally don't know too much about it.
Knows about the US and Blackwater, right? But have you heard of the Wagner Group? Well, if you haven't, then you might want to listen up, because it's arguably the world's most effective mercenary army, created, funded, and controlled by Russia. It acts as President Vladimir Putin's invisible hand in Syria, Libya, Sudan, Ukraine, Venezuela, the CAR, and even Madagascar. The group has created troll armies, tampered with Western democracies and electoral processes, fought and won real wars, taken over strategic territories, carried out assassinations, and, the cherry on top of the cake, Russia's political interests are fulfilled while maintaining plausible deniability.
PMCs, man, Metal Gear Solid 4 is going to become relevant when we get into that series, or we get into that game on our playthrough series.
First off, let's start with the man who is allegedly behind Wagner PMC, or Wagner Private Military Company. He goes by the name of Yevgeny Prigozhin. As a young adult, Prigozhin was sentenced to 9 years in prison for robbery and fraud. After he was released, he became a hot dog vendor. But the ex-convict had big aspirations. Coupled with Russia's shocking transition to capitalism in the 1990s, Prigozhin expanded his business by setting up St. Petersburg's first grocery chain, and then went into luxury restaurants. In 2001, the man himself, Vladimir Putin, started dining in Prigozhin's New Island, a luxury floating restaurant in his hometown of St. Petersburg. Prigozhin didn't waste the opportunity to personally serve his president, and so the two men hit it off. Now, the hot dog seller suddenly found himself a spot in the president's elite circle, earning him the nickname Putin's chef. The pivotal point in his life came with many benefits, including billion-dollar military and school catering contracts and tenders that enabled him to become a construction magnate. Over the last 20 years, he has engaged in a wide range of other businesses and activities with the Kremlin, and the equation is simple. Prigozhin's commercial interests and the Kremlin's pursuit of national interests were aligned. Wagner PMC is at the heart of this Russian roulette. Wagner PMC was born out of the conflict in Ukraine. During the Russian annexation of Crimea in 2014, the Russian army turned to Wagner's mercenaries, known as Little Green Men. They were reportedly involved in shooting down a Ukrainian Il-76 military airlift, assassinated rogue separatist leaders, and participated in the Battle of Debaltseve. For the fighters, mostly army veterans, it is clearly a money game. In 3 months, a mercenary can make around 1 million Russian rubles or $16,000, which goes a long way in that part of the world. And in some cases, it's more than 10 times what they'd be paid as a regular soldier. A commander can earn about 3 times more. If they die in combat, their families will receive around $56,000. For Russia, having mercenaries serves its purpose threefold. It gets battle-hardened mercenaries and doesn't need to deal with inactive veterans. But most importantly, Moscow gets to maintain plausible deniability while expanding its foreign policy reach. In other words, Russia can say it's not officially interfering in Libya, but can fulfill its strategic interests by having Wagner mercenaries there. Nearly a decade after its first appearance, Wagner has now spread across the world. This chart helps visualize the connection between Prigozhin's commercial interests and Russia's foreign policy engagement. But there's more. Prigozhin's other commercial interests also align with where Wagner mercenaries go. So for instance, in January 2018, Prigozhin's Avdiivka signed a contract with the Syrian state-owned General Petroleum Corporation. Avdiivka would get 25% of the output from any petroleum facilities retaken for Bashar al-Assad by Wagner mercenaries. A month later, Wagner mercenaries were involved in a risky assault on a US-operated oil outpost in eastern Syria. US intelligence revealed Prigozhin had participated directly in planning the attack. But the mission was actually a failure, as US forces successfully repelled this provocative action by killing 200 to 300 Wagner mercenaries. Despite this reckless overstepping, there is no doubt that Russia's arrival in Syria in 2015 was a game changer. Wagner played an important role in providing a lifeline to Syria's Bashar al-Assad. 2,500 of Prigozhin's men were reportedly sent to guard energy and military facilities, helping Assad simultaneously protect
How many?
facilities. Prigozhin's men were
2,500 of them, so that's not even all of it. How big is the Wagner group?
reportedly sent to guard energy and military facilities, helping Assad simultaneously protect facilities and mount offensives to recapture territories. A key example is the Palmyra offensive in 2016, during which it supplied the initial shock force to reclaim the city from Daesh. A Russian military source speaking to RBC News said this about how fighting goes down in Syria. First, Wagner's guys go to work, then the Russian ground units come in and the Arabs and the cameras. And the group stands accused of gross human rights violations. A horrifying video of Wagner mercenaries breaking a Syrian man's legs with a sledgehammer, crushing his chest, beheading him and cutting off his lower arms was published recently. The victim was identified as Mohammed Taha, a Syrian national who was accused of deserting a unit loyal to Assad. Putin and his chef have taken this war machine and used it in their rapid scramble for Africa.
He is called chef for being a hot dog vendor.
Russia outwitted France to obtain an exception to the United Nations CAR arms embargo in 2018. Stratfor reported that 370 Wagner contractors were deployed to CAR, providing security for President Faustin Assange Touadéra. Obviously, the service isn't free of charge. CAR is rich in diamonds, oil, gold, and uranium, and the Russian Foreign Ministry has discussed mining concessions with Touadéra. The Russians have initiated diamond extraction already, and Wagner appears to have taken up security at the mines. It is important to note that 3 Russian journalists were killed in CAR in the summer of 2018. The journalists were investigating Wagner's presence there and were planning to film gold mines in Libya, the land of Omar Mukhtar. Expansion is still on the cards for Putin and his chef.
Sounds like this is a no-no group to investigate, huh?
Evidence of Wagner's presence in Libya's sandy plains surfaced in November 2018 when footage revealed Prigozhin sitting among prominent Russian defense officials in a meeting with the LNA. Also, 2 Russian nationals were caught a year later and accused of tampering with local elections and gathering intelligence on military outposts. By the UN-recognized Government of National Accord, Wagner mercenaries are allegedly used as snipers, drone pilots, and to train LNA soldiers. The head of the LNA, warlord Khalifa Haftar, has been quietly and steadily backed by Russia. Moscow has an interest in the energy resources in Haftar-controlled territories and signed an oil offtake deal in 2017. Once again, Russia is trying to leverage guns and money to find itself in an advantageous position in post-war Libya. It's more or less a similar situation in Sudan, Madagascar, and Venezuela. Prigozhin is acting as Putin's private enabler. Putin's
I wonder if we're going to see anything that resembles what we've been seeing in our chat here.
Has also earned himself another nickname, the King of Dislikes. And this is due to his involvement in setting up troll armies and spreading fake news. The US government has indicted Prigozhin and another 13 Russians over fraud and deceit for the purpose of interfering with the US political and electoral processes. He is being directly accused of spending significant funds on the Internet Research Agency, a St. Petersburg body that has been nicknamed the Russian Troll Factory. These Russian trolls are accused of tampering with the US elections and other democracies such as the UK and France. And so it should be now very clear that Prigozhin has his finger in many pies. But this can also have dire consequences such as the US indictment. His companies are on the sanctions list and news agencies around the world have tried to shed light on his clandestine activities. So will Russia's quest to capitalize on humanitarian crisis pay off? Will the crimes committed by Wagner continue? And as with Blackwater, will justice be evaded?
Because Blackwater got off, they're not going to be brought into justice. So that's a little bit of information on the Wagner group. There's plenty of videos, plenty more videos to go through. All right, we're gonna be getting into Mariupol now. So let's get the update. They had about 152 civilians were evacuated from the city of Mariupol, southeastern port city, out of the Azovstal. There is plans, and the Russians are planning to assault the Azovstal plant. I think they did today. There was a report that they had, or they were going to. Unclear. Let's scroll up. But we also have the humanitarian vehicles that are able to get in there and get some women and children out. Here's a video just posted an hour ago. Defenders of Mariupol on a morning stroll through the fields of destruction. Glory to Ukraine. So get an idea of what Mariupol. You see how deep that hole was? It looked like it just kept going. You can't even see the bottom of that crater.
Слушай, ты видел яму там, которая не взорвалась? Видел там вот тупо траншея, которая не взорвалась? Да. Прикольно.
Yes, the Wagner group's in Izium right now. Mariupol before and after. So we're going to be watching a documentary here shortly of the Chronicles of Hell. So we're just getting into it, getting the latest in Mariupol before we dive into that.
Мы уже здесь как 2 месяца сидим и хочется увидеть солнце.
Нас никто не хочет слышать. Пожалуйста, заберите нас отсюда. Мы хотим видеть мирное небо.
Azovstal plant. 87-year-old Elvira survived the Holocaust and the Nazi siege of Leningrad. She told Radio Svoboda what she witnessed in Mariupol was worse. Siege of Mariupol worse than Leningrad in World War II.
Лучше бы это был фейк, вы понимаете? А не такая правда.
Ukrainian Holocaust survivor. She says it was worse than the 1941 to 44 Nazi siege of
Когда я
Leningrad.
услышала, что российские войска могут вторгнуть, вернее, не могут, а уже приказ, что и мирным жителям не надо волноваться, там вот какие-то точечные удары на кого-то будут, на военные там, а тут я пришла в ужас. Началась блокада, все. Город закрыли, как Ленинград, только намного страшнее. Они стреляли 48 часов в сутки. А вы как думаете? День за два. И бомбы, когда летят, у них свой писк. И когда они падают и взрываются, и земля дыбом, и осколки веером. Военные не знают, как себя вести. Мирные жители. Это будет главная цель. Так оно и получилось.
Orts and her husband are now in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv.
Эльвира Михайловна, у меня нет ни детей, ни внуков, потому что когда формировался мой, простите, женский организм, я была в Холокосте, и ничего не сформировалось толком. Поэтому та война лишила меня возможности иметь детей. Так вот, только с моей фамилией Борц закопано у агробазы города Мариуполя 38 расстрелянных по графе 5 национальность. Они были повинны в том, что у них такая национальность. А сколько было таких же моих близких родственников, но с другой фамилией, целая книга.
She helped plan the construction of modern-day Mariupol.
И все вот эти дома в городе Мариуполе через мои руки прошли, а теперь их все разбили. Знаете, в Мариуполе очень запечатлелось Приморский бульвар. Красивая, прямая, светлая улица и лавочки для отдыхающих. И на одной такой лавочке присел человек, и ему снарядом разнесло вот так лицо, снеслось, чесало. И он сидел несколько дней.
Bort's thoughts are with Mariupol's last offenders inside the Azovstal steelworks.
Эти парни, которые там все это время сражались, пытаясь это как-то остановить. И сейчас они встали, последний час. Господи, спаси их всех. Ты же сам, господин Путин, все время говорил о том, что в каждой стране свои законы, свои обычаи. И что ты сделал? И что ты сейчас сделал? На твоих руках уже получилось столько крови, что этому уже прощения просто никакой Господь даже не позволит. Мы все как бы свидетели вот этого массового убийства граждан соседней страны. И мы не имеем права молчать, иначе мы соучастники этого убийства. Всех. Понимаете? Ну, не знаю. Я не знаю, что еще можно добавить. Господин Путин, подумайте, прекратите эту бойню.
All right. Now, Holocaust survivor. This is the latest from President Zelensky. about the evacuation from the Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol.
Нарешті результат, перший результат нашої евакуаційної операції з Азовсталі в Маріуполі, яку ми організували дуже довго організовували. Це потребувало багатьох зусиль, довгих переговорів і різного посередництва. Сьогодні до Запоріжжя прибули 156 людей, жінки, діти. Вони були більше 2 місяців у сховищах. Тільки уявіть, наприклад, дитині 6 місяців, 2 з яких під землею, рятуючих від бомб, обстрілів. Нарешті ці люди в повній безпеці. Вони отримують допомогу. Ми продовжуємо робити все, щоб дістати з Маріуполя і Азовсталі усіх наших людей. Це складно. Але нам потрібні всі. Маємо нарешті результат.
Right, that's from President Zelensky on the Azovstal plant. From the defenders of the world, for all the defenders of Mariupol, thank you for your support from all over the world. Warsaw, Poland. This was in Poland. Defenders of Mariupol still in the fight. Unbelievable, just unbelievable. The strength of character required to fight like this for 2 straight months. Glory to Ukraine.
Там какие-то фары ебущие на перекрестке. Там какие-то фары ебущие на перекрестке.
Probably an old video. I see snow in it. Counterattack drone footage captures incredible moment. The Azov battalion launches a counterattack on Russian soldiers at the besieged city of Mariupol. Russian soldiers can be seen cowering on the ground as an Azov officer tosses a hand grenade over the fence. I might have seen this. Yep, I've seen this. Or we have seen that. We played that clip a week ago or so. Soldiers of the Russian armed forces in Mariupol. Photos. Evacuation convoy from Mariupol today. That's the evacuation convoy. I wonder when they passed them off, or the Russian soldiers left that and then went back to Mariupol. Trying to find the UN videos. There we go. Buses with evacuated civilians from Mariupol arrived in Zaporizhia. So here's Zaporizhia. So they went from here to Mariupol to the city of Zaporizhia, just north of Russian occupied territory within Ukraine, right? Just south of Dnipro. When they arrived in Zaporizhia. There's more. Yeah.
Ну, просили бабушку без прессы. Бабушку без прессы.
Я несу уже все, потому что неудобно.
From the Azovstal steel plant, that's down here. Here's the Azovstal in Mariupol. They are getting civilians out of it. Video from the defenders of Mariupol. Time is not on their side. From the Canadian Ukrainian volunteer. We've seen the, all right. First awards given of medals for the liberation of Mariupol. So this is a Russian award ceremony.
Слово предоставляется главе Донецкой Народной Республики Денису Владимировичу Пушилину.
Товарищи военнослужащие, уважаемые друзья, битва за Мариуполь войдет особенными страницами в историю Донбасса. Это особенная и победа, совместная победа подразделений Донецкой Народной Республики и Вооруженных сил Российской Федерации.
За беспримерное мужество, стойкость и отвагу, проявленные в боях за освобождение города Мариуполя, наградить медалью за освобождение Мариуполя Вилкова Евгения Александровича, лейтенанта, Гражданкина Романа Валерьевича, лейтенанта.
God, even their award ceremonies, dude. Award ceremony and given to Russian soldiers for that's what their words, liberation of Mariupol. That's how they're painting it. My apartment was bombed, so we ran to my parents. Later, it was bombed too. Civilians fleeing the Russian-occupied city of Mariupol and other areas of eastern Ukraine crossed the front line into Zaporizhia in the country's southeast.
А мы нет, бегали. У нас моя квартира, ее разбомбили, мы побежали в родительскую. Потом там разбомбили, поехали в дом. Ну, в доме сидели, там хоть печка была, так без света, без газа, без воды. Ну, хочется сказать, что хотелось бы вернуться в Мариуполь. Надеемся, что туда Украина еще вернется.
С продуктами очень тяжело. Там гуманитарная помощь. Денег нет. С ребенком очень страшно находиться. Поэтому вынуждены были выехать. Родные там остались, а мы спасаем ребенка.
Нервы, конечно, такое пережили, что избавь Бог кому-то такое. Ну, лечиться надо долго, наверное. И нам, и детям.
All right, that's from the New York Times report. All right, now let's go to the documentary. It's probably going to end one more report before we go to the documentary. This is a report from PBS NewsHour.
There was so much death.
From Mariupol, eastern port city.
Only now are they planning for its permanence. 35-year-old Vladimir Stifin.
Oh no, this isn't. Wrong video. Oh, never mind. We'll come back to that one tomorrow. Let's get into the Mariupol documentary. Mariupol Chronicles of Hell. I'll share this into our Discord if you guys are interested in this and supporting the video. Oops. I'm sharing this into our server right now in the video clips channel. If you guys haven't joined our server, please do so. Comment where you guys are tuned in from. We're at the 2-hour and 30-minute mark. This is probably going to be the last video we go through for the night. It's an hour and 20 minutes long. So we're going to be diving in. We're going to be seeing this. It just came out today. Documentary on Mariupol. Hit that like button. Make sure, again, you're subscribed to the channel. This channel that we're tuned into is called the Chronicles of Hell on YouTube. We're not going to do Speak the Truth. He just did reaction videos to war clips. Before we get into it, I'll read off where everyone's tuned in from. How about that? Because we're going to need to dial in. It's an hour and 20 minutes long. Houston, Texas. Upstate New York is tuned in. Welcome, you're up late. Lufkin, Texas. Who else we got? Snackersville, Alabama. Who else we got here is tuned in. Comment your city and state, y'all. Hello from Albany, Oregon. Welcome. Kansas City's tuned in. There we go. A lot of people fell asleep already. Chat's moving on slow mode. Palm Desert, California. Colton, there we go. Colton, California. Ogden, Utah. Maryland. Houston, Texas. Auckland, New Zealand. Manchester, United Kingdom. Minnesota. Sydney, Australia. The Baltics, Lithuania. Jersey Shore. Toronto, Canada. Documentaries about Mariupol. Walsenburg, Southern Colorado. Welcome. Chico, California. Otsego, Minnesota. Baltimore, Maryland. Syracuse, New York. Welcome. New York City, Brooklyn. Seattle, Washington. Middleton, Virginia. You're watching another video on YouTube. You're the only person, Mistel, that has had a problem. You've commented twice on this now. No kidding. White Bear Lake is tuned in. Australia. Brisbane, Australia. Nenana, Wisconsin. Pennsatucky. Brisbane, Australia. Montana, Lithuania. Welcome. Montana, Ontario, Canada. Indiana's tuned in. West Lakeland, Minnesota. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. All right, let's get into the documentary. 420 friendly. Mark one up if you need to get through it. This is going to be Mariupol from the beginning of the invasion until now. All right, here we go.
Мне кажется, Мариуполь очень легкий, с какой-то соленой ноткой моря нашего, с чайками, с очень веселым, мне кажется, характером.
Там чайки просто гигантские, и они такие наглые, они прям с рук едят.
Это был город с огромным будущим.
Просто ходили и любовались тем, что происходит с нашим городом, какой он стал крутой. Ну все. Ну, такое останется в памяти.
Привіт. Це я, Маріуполь. Кажуть, прийшла весна. Та я її не побачу. Ворог вибив мої очі. Вікна. Він понівечив моє тіло. Бачиш ці дірки у стінах? Він б'є без зупину, бо за ними хоче знайти мою душу, моїх людей. Та я закриваю їх як можу. Кажуть, що я фортеця. От я і тримаюсь. Заради них.
За несколько дней до официального начала войны, когда Россия начала полномасштабное вторжение, рано утром я проснулась от странных звуков за окном. Мне показалось, что это стройка, потому что когда живешь рядом со стройкой, там все время что-то грюкает, бахает, падает. Но звук был очень ритмичный. Я залезла в местные телеграм-каналы, группы мариупольские, и поняла, что это обстрел со стороны так называемой ДНР. То есть по примерно восточному берегу, это часть Мариуполя, которая находится в 15, по левому берегу, поселок Восточный, это часть Мариуполя, которая находится в 15-20 километрах от центра, шли обстрелы со стороны так называемой ДНР, и все люди в Мариуполе знали о том, что это происходит, и относились к этому с каким-то таким можно сказать, даже спокойствием. То есть они за все годы войны привыкли, что с той стороны постоянно идут какие-то обстрелы.
Когда 24-го ударили ракетами по всей стране и по Мариуполю в том числе, я понял, что точно что-то будет, но на тот момент я не думал, что будет до такой степени. Да? Но я запасся всем, чем только можно. Это зажигалки, свечки, вода, еда, которая не требует особых усилий, чтобы ее делать, готовить, да? Батарейки, там еще что-то, пауэрбанки. Действительно, опыт 2014 года, когда в Донецке началось это все, он мне где-то помог в чем-то, да, я думал, что я уже готов к любым вещам, как выяснилось, вообще нет. 2014 год у нас в Донецке и 22-й в Мариуполе – это две большие разницы.
В первые дни войны все казалось плюс-минус нормально. Есть свет, интернет, вода, все работает. По городу даже ездили троллейбусы. И я думала, господи, какие героические водители троллейбусов. Им-то что мешает не ездить. Но общественный транспорт там работал, всего не ездили. Из-за того, что Мариуполь разбит на два берега, люди, которые жили в центре, плохо понимали, что происходит на левом берегу и в поселке Восточный. Это примерно 15 километров от центра. А их тогда уже просто поливали из всех видов артиллерии, какие только можно было. А люди в центре продолжали там ходить в кафе, пить кофе. И абсолютно не понимали, что вот этот вот конец света, который идет с востока, что он приближается, и что вот эта линия фронта, она приближается. И когда оттуда начали ехать переселенцы, то есть вот внутри города, люди, потерявшие квартиры, потерявшие дома, когда оттуда начали приезжать десятки раненых в больницы, то стало понятно, как все происходит.
Буквально за 4 дня Мариуполь оказался в окружении. Никаких планов по поводу эвакуации никто никому не говорил.
А потом на 4-5 день уже началось абсолютно во всех районах города. И начало прилетать просто везде. Просто везде, хаотично, по жилым домам, не только по какой-либо инфраструктуре городской, то есть, а просто по жилым домам.
And I still remember when we were watching these buildings just get hit as it was happening every day. Every day.
Сначала начались перебои со светом, потому что российские оккупанты начали конкретно бить по подстанциям. И то есть повреждать инфраструктуру именно вот электроснабжения. И в первые дни наши коммунальщики тоже работали просто круглосуточно, пытались восстановить, потому что там в одном районе пропал свет, восстановили, потом в другом пропал свет. Но просто обстрелы усиливались и усиливались, и просто было повреждено такое количество инфраструктуры, что свет просто пропал. То есть и уже нельзя было его восстановить, потому что это было и опасно, и как бы ни наши военные не могли обеспечить безопасность коммунальщикам, потому что русские все время обстреливали. И самое страшное было, что пропало отопление. Потому что сначала у нас было достаточно тепло в первые дни войны, а потом пришло похолодание и доходило до минус 10 градусов. И то есть вплоть до того, что люди умирали и на улицах, и у себя дома от переохлаждения. И естественно, когда полностью закрыли кольцо и устроили блокаду, это тоже как раз были вот эти вот, по-моему, числа 4-5, я могу немножко в датах путаться, потому что у меня все это слиплось в один громадный такой комок, вот, и эмоциональный, и комок нервов, и воспоминаний. И, в общем, в Мариуполь перестала поступать провизия.
В первых числах марта город оказался заблокирован. Русские не впускали туда гуманитарные грузы, не позволяли вывести ни раненых, ни детей, ни беременных женщин, которым нужно было, например, рожать в клиниках или еще где-то. Они никого не впускали, никого не выпускали и отказывались идти на переговоры. В городе наступала самая настоящая гуманитарная катастрофа. Люди готовили еду на кострах у себя во дворах. Я реально видела, как они охотятся на голубей. И мужчина, который охотился на голубей, он сказал мне, что это для его собаки, овчарки, потому что ему нечем кормить собаку.
The pigeon was for his German shepherd because he had nothing to feed it with. We were watching like all of these videos.
Объяснить и представить, как жили люди.
Look at.
Люди в эти дни в Мариуполе до сих пор живут, потому что там до сих пор находится больше 100 тысяч человек. Они еще не выехали. Это сложно описать. Его сравнивают с Алеппо, с блокадой Ленинградом, но ни один из этих городов так не поливали артиллерией, то есть люди не жили под постоянными обстрелами.
На самом деле нельзя быть готовым к тому, что твой город лишится в один момент всего. И жители города окажутся в каменном веке, да, то есть без электричества, воды, отопления, продуктов питания, медицины. Деньги в нашем мире тогда не стоили ничего. То есть деньги это был ноль. Работал натуральный обмен, скажем так. Да. Я вот менял, у меня была водка дома, я ее не пью, я ее менял на сигареты. Вот. Кто-то, я знаю, менял золото на 19-литровые бутылки воды. То есть вода это была самая большая ценность. Самая большая ценность это была чистая вода. Потом уже даже не чистая вода, а жидкая вода это была самая большая ценность. Мы сливали воду с батарей. Мы умные люди, мы знаем, что ее нельзя пить, но если тебе больше нечего пить, ты будешь ее пить.
Когда закончилась вода, да, дождевая пойдет. Вот так вот.
На 8 марта выпал снег. Так женщины радовались этому снегу, это был лучший подарок для них, потому что все повыскакивали, начали собирать снег, растапливать на кострах, чтобы это было, чтобы была хоть какая-то вода, потому что воды вообще не было. Особенно если техническую еще ладно, там, когда дождик, а питьевой вообще не было воды.
Вот между Арсипенко улицей, между частным сектором и между спальными районами мужик привозил воду. Мужчина какой-то привозил воду. Он такая большая белая бочка. Я сначала решила, что этот мужчина, он возит воду, потому что, кто-то из, может быть, это власть, городская власть о нас заботится. Потом, как оказалось, этот мужчина сам приезжал в водоканал. Может быть, он даже какой-то работник был водоканала. Там еще была вода. Набирал в эту бочку, привозил вот сюда к нам. И люди стояли с бутылями, он им наливал. И люди занимали очередь, там или с 10, или с 11, он приезжал к часу где-то. Там было по 300, очень много людей было. И под обстрелами, под всем. Он просто привозил людям воду. То есть просто возил, просто им помогал.
Очередь за водой.
Чтобы приготовить еду, это был достаточно трудоемкий процесс. Это надо было собирать дров, сходить за водой, все это под постоянными обстрелами, то есть ложились снаряды просто рядом, и в очередях, там, где люди стояли в криничках, в очередях к источникам, где люди набирали воду, тоже было стоять опасно, потому что несколько раз прилетало по скоплениям людей, и люди умирали. На тот момент у нас еще работал единственный в городе супермаркет, который до последнего продавал людям еду. Ту очередь обстреливали, то есть очереди за водой обстреливали. То есть, это, конечно, было очень страшно, но люди все равно выживали, все равно им нужно было выходить в город, и человек мог пойти за водой и не вернуться.
Было опасно, потому что я серьезно говорю, если у меня брат погиб, он пошел за водой, да, в своем же районе, и в него попал снаряд, и все, его разорвало. Он просто пошел за водой. Вот, то есть далеко старались не ходить, потому что нужно было сразу куда-то бежать и прятаться. Потому что обстрелы были очень частые. Но я не знаю, как каждые полчаса, может быть. А потом уже 14-15 перед нашим отъездом они вообще не прекращались. Было ощущение, что просто лупят и все, не прекращаются, никогда не прекратятся.
А некоторые люди даже набирали в лужах воду, я знаю, в дворах. Они делали вот эти там импровизированные фильтры, проливали эту воду через эти фильтры. У многих не ставало еды. И они были вынуждены, допустим, я сам владелец собаки, но употребить в пищу своего домашнего питомца. А кто-то вообще остался под завалами, и этих спасателей-то не было, техники нет, бензина нет, и они там позадыхались. Это вот только когда откроют город Мариуполь, это только тогда можно будет вообще понять масштаб этой трагедии, которая там происходит.
They ate their own pets because they didn't have food in Mariupol.
Люди под обстрелами ходили в разбитые здания, искали мебель, искали старые окна с деревянными рамами. Вот. Искали все, что только можно. Люди выносили мебель из своих домов тоже, да. И вот распаливали огонь вот этой мебелью, то есть там, где более-менее сухое, и подкидывали туда вот эти вот мокрые дрова. Они просыхали постепенно, это было очень много дыма. То есть в каждом дворе шел дым. По одному дымку, по два, по три. Я знаю жуткие вещи, мне рассказывали ребята, которые выезжали уже оттуда сейчас. У них мальчик, сын, ему 10 лет. У него был там друг, ему тоже 10 лет. Они с ним общались, дружили. Там очень важно деткам было веселиться хотя бы как-то, да, то есть чтобы дети не сошли с ума, они вот как-то смеялись, прыгали при всем этом. И мама этого мальчика, она пошла вместе с другим мужчиной готовить еду для всех жителей убежища. То есть у них там было распределено, что в этот день вот эти делают еду, в этот день те, в этот день те. Вот. И мама готовила еду, это был день или утро даже. И по словам вот ребят этих, минометный обстрел маму разорвало на части прямо там. И мальчику не рассказывает никто до сих пор, что мамы нет. Мальчику сказали, что маму ранило, ее увезли лечить. И никто вот не может решиться сообщить мальчику, что мамы нет. И он просит каждый день всех жителей убежища отвезти его к маме, там что-то ей дать.
Вони прийшли мене звільняти. Так кажуть вороги, які катують мене. Та я сильний. В мене сталевий характер, загартований домнами. Шкода, що
This is the voice of Mariupol. So when you hear that voice, it's the voice of Mariupol. Thank you, Kyiv.
сталь то не броня. Та я тримаюсь.
Неподалеку от нашего волонтерского центра обстреляли двор, в котором готовили еду женщины, дети, подростки. Ну, то есть стояли, кошеварили, просто на открытом огне. Их обстреляли, и мы находились ближе всех и побежали туда, чтобы помогать разбирать завалы, оказать какую-то помощь медицинскую, потому что очень важно быстро оказать первую медицинскую помощь, если, например, там человеку оторвало ногу или руку, ну, это вопрос секунд, даже там не минут, да, ну, потому, конечно же, мы туда просто стремглав побежали. И когда мы зашли во двор, первое, что я увидела, тело мальчика лет, наверное, 11. Он уже лежал на земле, и его лицо уже приобретало какую-то такую восковую бледность. Я наклонилась, чтобы пощупать пульс, и ребенок был теплый и прям горячий, словно еще живой, но он уже был мертвый. И он лежал прямо на проезжей части. Во двор начали заезжать машины полиции и спасателей, в них начали грузить раненых. А мой коллега, волонтер, он сам спасатель, но он совсем еще юный парень, я думаю, ему, не знаю, около, наверное, 22 лет. И он взял этого мальчика, чтобы убрать его с проезжей части, чтобы на него не наехали машины, которые просто ездили по двору, собирали раненых, чтобы они не переехали тело. И он его вот так вот взял, как живого, и переложил на тротуар. И я подумала, какой это ужас, что вот один, казалось бы, еще совсем мальчишка, несет тело другого мальчишки. И что я в тот же момент я подумала, что будет дальше. И к нам подошел пожилой мужчина и спросил, что вы делаете, куда вы его забираете. Я поняла, что это был его дедушка. Он спросил, этот дедушка спросил у меня, что мне делать. Он был совершенно растерян. И я сказала, что внука надо хоронить. А он говорит, а как я его буду хоронить? У меня же даже лопаты нет. И на тот момент я не задумалась об этой истории и не задумалась об этой трагедии и осмысливаю ее уже потом. Но на тот момент я думала о том, что мы должны побежать по всему дому, по всем этажам и посмотреть, нет ли людей, которые там, возможно, лежат без сознания и просто не могут позвать на помощь, а они ранены, например. И мы побежали с моими коллегами в подъезд, поднялись на лестничный пролет и увидели, что возле окна на стуле сидит мужчина с рассеченной губой. А другой мужчина в сорочке, джемпере, седоватый, зашивает ему эту губу. Он повернулся к нам и сказал, Здравствуйте, меня зовут Эдуард Иванович. У вас есть перевязочный материал? У нас был перевязочный материал, стерильные бинты, полная аптечка с собой была, мы ему все отдали. Оказалось, что это хирург-стоматолог, который живет в этом доме, и на первом этаже у него была практика. А когда началась война, то он забрал оттуда все, что у него было по медицинской части, и начал просто сам ходить и оказывать людям помощь, когда она была нужна. То есть он умел зашивать, он хирург-стоматолог, и он сидел, зашивал губу этому парню. И когда мы ему отдали бинты, вот это вот все, что он просил, он к нему повернулся и говорит: так, а теперь, миленький мой, мы будем зашивать тебе язык.
Это был ад. Это очень страшно, потому что каждую ночь уже начались с 4-5 числа авиаудары. И как по расписанию 4-5 утра мы даже заводили себе будильник, мы просыпались и выходили в коридор из комнат, чтобы сидели в коридоре. И мы сидим с детьми, с животными, да, темень, ничего, и мы слышим, летит самолет. И, наверное, все там просим Вселенную, Бога, кто есть, чтобы это не в наш дом было. Хотя мы понимаем, что летит, над нами летит смерть. И куда она сейчас попадет, мы не знаем. И с каждым днем количество этих авиаударов становилось все больше и больше. Если первый раз там это было 2 бомбы, он сбросил, уже слышно, то потом это доходило 4, 6, 8. Становилось хуже и хуже. Уже мы видели, как прилетало в соседний дом, как загорелся 9-й этаж. А в этой квартире находилось 6 детей. 6 детей и 2 взрослых. И, как говорили, что там не удалось спасти всех детей. Мы стоим с мужем, ночью мы видим, как горит эта квартира, ни пожарных, ни скорых, и мы просто, мы ничего не можем, сделать. И, просто стоим и смотрим, как горит 9-й этаж соседнего дома.
С 4 числа, то есть по 20 мы проживали в подвале с женой, с 2 детьми. Каждый день все больше и больше людей спускалось. Жизнь в подвале с 2 детьми, это, конечно, ужас, тем более подвалы, не приспособлены. Наш дом наполовину сгорел, у нас было попадание зажигательной мины. Как говорила русская пропаганда, что мы там будем освобождать. С зажигательными боеприпасами вы будете освобождать.
Are they going to liberate us by using incendiary shells? The girl before this said that they watched the 9th floor story burn. And there were 6 children and 2 adults burning on the 9th floor, and they couldn't do anything about it. And then the Russian propaganda says that they're liberating the people of Mariupol, but they're using the thermobaric rounds on the city that we've been seeing.
То есть реально очень много сгоревших домов. То есть дом, даже если он не разрушен, в него попал зажигательный снаряд, и он просто выгорел. Дома как факел стоит, вот черная 9-этажка полностью. То есть там ничего живого.
15 марта ночью уже мы услышали очень страшные звуки. Почему мы даже, собственно, и решили уезжать любой ценой, пусть мы даже бы погибли, да, страшные звуки, непонятные какие-то, очень такие вот, а все переворачивалось внутри, потому что это был такой звук мощный, очень сильный. Я думала, что, наверное, вот уже нет нашего района, остался, может быть, один наш дом почему-то, я не знаю, по какой причине, может быть, потому что, случайно остался. Я думаю, что я выйду, да, допустим, и увижу там просто, пустоту вообще, все. Я, в принципе, примерно то же самое увидела, что думала, там еще стояли какие-то дома поврежденные, то есть, вот, и я не понимала, что это за звук. Я по звукам немножко уже отличала, что летит. Нам потом люди рассказали, мы на Белосаревку сначала приехали, что короче, с моря стреляли российские корабли по городу. То есть они стреляли с земли, они на нас стреляли артиллерией, да, они на нас стреляли с воздуха, и они решили, что еще осталось нас еще и с моря, пострелять. Видимо, я не знаю, они для чего делали это, я не знаю, но они просто тупо стреляли по нам из всех видов оружия. Стреляли и все. Им было пофиг, что там сидят, что там сидят люди, им было пофиг, что там дети, они просто нас убивали. То есть они нас убивали целенаправленно.
На улицах люди ходили, боялись, но ходили. Было людей безумно мало, но было очень страшно. Безумно.
We're going to go for about 8 minutes, y'all. That's how we're going to do it. So 8 more minutes, and then that'll be part one. We'll watch this in 3 parts. So we'll watch another half hour tomorrow night, and then the final 21 minutes or however long is left, we'll watch the third night. So we'll 8 more minutes, and then we'll wrap it up for the night. So we keep it at 3 hours, because longer than 3 hour live streams are really hard for people. Like it's, so 8 more minutes, and then I'll wrap it up, and then we'll watch the next half hour tomorrow.
Попали под авиаудар, получается, мы с друзьями ходили проведывать родителей, да, каждый своих. И в один из дней мы шли, проведывали родителей, и на обратном пути был авиаудар, и был авиаудар в бомбоубежище, там, где находились люди, а мы были недалеко от него. Волной нас откинуло, мы упали, к сожалению, наш друг погиб, просто молниеносно, в 1 секунду, а еще один друг получил ранение. И мы, к сожалению, не смогли не забрать нашего друга, ничего. Ты приходишь домой, а дома нас ждет его жена, его ребенок, его мама 80 лет, его сестра, племянник. И, сказать истерика, это была не истерика, это просто у людей разрушился мир.
Кажуть, що я символ боротьби. На моїх вулицях життя бореться зі смертю. Мої захисники.
There's going to be graphic images in this documentary, by the way. I'll try, if it's really bad, I'll try to skip it, but
Незламні. Але смерть все частіше перемагає.
13 или 14 числа, вот я все-таки больше склоняюсь, что 14 марта, а не 13, я пошел к дочке. Была вот такая вот хорошая солнечная погода. Пришел, мы с ней поговорили, взял внучку Маргаритку, ей 10 лет, и мы пошли на улицу прогуляться. Вот. Вышли на улицу, и тут слышим, работают минометы. Так бак-бак-бак-бак-бак-бак, видать, Васильки 82-е. Вот. Я говорю, я, наверное, пойду домой, потому что сейчас будут прилеты, а вы быстренько тоже уходите. Перебежала проспект Строителя, потому что уже в то время было небезопасно ходить по открытым пространствам, и мы все ходили под домами. Перебежал, забежал, уже газа не было. В это время забежал во двор с 5 хаток, с 5-этажных домов. И так спокойно уже иду на расслабоне. И вспышка с правой стороны, вот боковым зрением увидел, сразу упал. Вот. Поднимаю голову, бежит парень в первый подъезд. Я за ним забегаю. Забежал, там стояли 3 женщины. Вот. И бабушка стояла с котелком водички, с кастрюлькой. Ее все ругали. Зачем ты побежала? Тут обстрел начался. Она говорит, а как же я чай буду пить? И тут следующий прилет. В подъезд врывается через раскрытые, разбитые окна. Грязь, пыль, шум. В общем, мы все попадали. Потом через какое-то время выглянули через дверь. Рядом стоял в торце дом. На 2-й этаж в балкон влетел снаряд. Вот. И я так посмотрел, думаю, что-то так сыкотно стало, честно. Думаю, надо отсюда уходить, видать, пристрелялись, и хрен знает, насколько я здесь задержусь. И я что-то выскочил сразу за угол дома, а там у нас 2-я гимназия, и тоже такая открытая площадка, перебежал ее. И уже спустился во двор, уже недалеко от своего двора иду, и мужчина, говорит, бабушке зовет, говорит, идите быстрее в подвал, потому что в 6-м доме человека убило, а я там живу. А в нашем доме, в моем подъезде первом, ребята сделали около подъезда, у входа вырыли яму, сделали как бы мангал для того, чтобы готовить кушать. Он большой был, чтобы можно было поставить 5-6 кастрюлек. Вот. И на случай обстрела можно было сразу спрятаться, забежать в подъезд. Вот. И я иду, так смотрю, еще вот только зашел, первый край дома, у нас 4 подъезда, и смотрю, что-то не то. Ну, разрушения какие-то. Подошел, около подъезда 4 трупа. Сергей, Макс, Володя и Алевтина лежат. И на лавочке лежит еще один. Вот. Рядом в 1,5 метрах воронка. Я переступил, забежал к себе домой, передохнул, выдохнул так, фух. Зашел в зал, у меня клетка стоит с попугаем, баламута. И тут, как шарахнет, стекла на меня, я выскакиваю в коридор, спрятался там и слышу так, тук-тук. Думаю, наверное, баламуту звезда пришла. Выглядываю, а это часы разбились, и стрелка застряла, а он сидит в клетке тихо. Я его быстро с собой. Вот. Ну вот так вот у меня появились 4 трупа около подъезда.
Ваши соседи, да?
Да. Наши соседи, это Макс, ему 28 лет, он перед войной сделал ремонт в квартире, подо мной они жили со Светланой. У него была хорошая зарплата, и они мечтали, как после войны заживут, и он будет снова строить свою дальнейшую жизнь. И когда его убило, Света так кричала, мы думали, она с ума сойдет.
Люди теряли квартиры, теряли дома, и во многих домах не было убежищ под землей, и людям нужно было где-то жить, потому они стали собираться в городских общественных зданиях, которые могли принять большое количество людей, в которых были убежища.
Минуточку внимания. Я знаю, что ни у кого из вас нет связи. Меня зовут Евгений Тузов. Здесь меня знают как Жека-тренер. Я комендант, получается, вот этих вот нескольких убежищ, которые мы сформировали. Мы такие же жители, как и вы. Ну, спортзал это был самый большой у нас в Мариуполе, огромный, и он был оборудован отлично. Но применялось все, и там этими грушами закладывались, мешками для бокса закладывались окна. Потому что когда здание само по себе хорошее, это терраспорт, внизу там очень много помещений в подвале, они оборудованы под спортзал. Там маты лежат, это поэтому способствовало тому, что было хорошо и удобно там спать. Там сухо было, так сказать, плюс-минус комфортно. У нас здесь сформировано чисто для мирных жителей, женщин, детей, практически я не знаю, в районе, наверное, 5000 или 4, я точно не знаю количество. Но вот эти вот убежища, может быть, мы стараемся помогать всем. Это было начало марта, потому что связь пропала с городом 2 марта. Вот. И на самом деле все начали осознавать, когда начали видеть, как горят дома. Вот, когда залетали снаряды в нижние этажи, и дом вот так вот снизу доверху выгорал, у нас на бульваре Шевченко 357, это расстояние, где-то порядка 2-3 километров до терраспорта. Раненые люди, сын, мать в шоке и раненый отец, прибежали, наверное, не знаю, за несколько минут. Вот, не знаю, там Усейн Болт, который олимпийский чемпион, пробежал бы эту дистанцию так быстро. Вот, они прибежали, осколки с них доставали, у нас лазарет был, там доктор. Такого серьезного, конечно, мы ничего не могли, потому что ни шовного материала нету, ни приспособления, но по мере возможности оказывали медицинскую помощь, Вот. И, соответственно, разрасталось. И мы понимаем, что наше помещение, это как сказка, рукавичка, да, по-моему, или варежка, как она там. Вот, правила безопасного поведения, как вести себя при обстреле, это важно, говорю.
All right, this is where we're going to leave off. It's about a half hour in. Safety regulations and how they had to behave at the plant, and that's what they're going to be getting into next. So that's a documentary called Mariupol, The Chronicles of Hell. I shared it into our Discord server. So you guys, if you want to watch it in your own time, outside of the stream, you can, but we'll be watching the next half hour tomorrow night. And then the final half hour would be on Saturday. All right, final half hour on Saturday. The new day of the week for members only chat is Saturdays. Supporter Saturdays. It used to be on Mondays, but now Saturdays. If you don't have the member badge yet, the chat will be for members only Saturday nights. Also, Friday nights, I hope you guys are interested in video games. Those that are, if you really like watching video game streams, come on over to Snack Squad Gaming. We have 421 subscribers. I thought it was going to be perfect timing at 420. But I'm streaming the entire Metal Gear Solid franchise from beginning to end. We just played episode 1, which is the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 3. There I am, You know, we're playing games on Friday nights and Sunday nights. All right. If I have late softball on Fridays, I'm likely not going to stream this game because it'll be too late. But like this week, I have softball at 6 and 7, so I'll be able to stream this game. Same time as I do the war streams, okay? 9 p.m. Central Time for video games on Friday and Sundays. And if I do have a late game, then I'll still stream Friday night, but it won't be this game because people will be sleeping. I'll stream Civilization or a different game on Fridays if I do have a late game. But I don't this week, so we'll be continuing our Metal Gear Solid playthrough. And I hope you guys all tune in. Again, thank you guys so much for choosing independent media. Thank you for choosing myself. I'm Andrew Mercado, independent journalist, U.S. Army veteran. Thank you guys again for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Day 70 update. Have a wonderful evening. Make sure you like the video, you're subscribed to the channel. Thank you to all of our members. Thank you to our newest member, JF, for becoming a member. Have a wonderful night, guys, and take care. Army veteran. Thank you guys again for tuning in. See you guys tomorrow. 70 update. Have a wonderful night. Make sure you like the video, you're subscribed to the channel. Thank you to all of our members. Thank you to our newest member, JF, for becoming